Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. How are we doing here on a Wednesday? Almost halfway through the work week. Just chugging along here. Guest free as of right now. I have invites out to different people. I've struck out trying to get different people on today, but maybe not. We'll see if we're able to land somebody between now and 5 o'clock. Plenty of talk about regardless. We're going to talk about Packers training camp this hour. But first, we're going to talk about that Brewers game last night. First, it's going to be story time to start the show, y'all. It's going to be story time.
He already warned me about this, yeah.
So last night, went to the Brewers game. And it was Cub Scout night. So Kay and the kids, they had to be there at like 5:05 or something to stand in line for like an hour before you could actually see them starting to walk on the field by like 6:15, 6:20 or so. And again, these are Cub Scouts from around the state of Wisconsin. This isn't just, Cub Scouts in southeastern Wisconsin. It's from everywhere. So like Cub Scouts from Wausau, Duluth, Superior, Green Bay, Appleton, whatever. All these Cub Scout packs come down, and then you walk in at one foul pole. You walk all the way behind home plate, all the way around and back up on the other side. First off, quickly just on that moment itself. Actually, you know what? We'll wait. I'll get to there in my part of the story. We can talk about it. But so I get over to American Family Field. I ended up taking the shuttle from Natty Oaks because I was trying to figure out which was going to be quicker to get me over there after my show was done at 5 o'clock yesterday, so I could see my boy walk on the field with the Cub Scouts. And I was going to do the Potawatomi Sportsbook, but I was like, man, by the time I get over there, walk through the casino, get to the sportsbook, stand in line, make my bet, then try and find the shuttle, get on the shuttle. I was like, that's going to take even longer than if I just drive closest to the station, get on their shuttle and go. So I did the Natty Oak shuttle. So I get over there, get on the Natty Oak shuttle, boom shakalaka, we go over to American Family Field. So we get over there, I get off the shuttle. They are en route. They're moving. Kay's texting me. All right, we're moving. We're heading. I think we're heading towards going inside now. I mean, you could see them coming in like to the parking lot underneath the bridge and everything. They're lined up forever long. So again, it's digital. Now we know that I don't like modern technology. I don't like these self-checkouts. I don't like any of this stuff. Not a big fan. But I've done the digital tickets at events. Like I've done this before. So Kay forwards me the ticket to my phone. So I click on the ticket, go through mumbo jumbo, boom, I have it up on my screen. I'm like, okay. My phone at this point now is at like 15 or 16%.
Charge your phone. If you know you're going to an event like this.
Hold on. In fairness, my kids were here with me in the studio yesterday for a couple of hours. And the 10-year-old who was going to this thing wanted to make sure. So I said, okay, fine. Take the phone charger. I'll be fine, right? Not thinking that my phone was potentially going to die before I could get into the game. So now I'm in line. I get up. I show the person in charge the thing. Oh, yeah, we don't. That's not going to work. You're going to have to call it up through the ballpark app.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So go to the ballpark app, right? Type my password in, which is essentially your MLB app password, I believe. Type your password in. Password doesn't work. So now I'm standing there. People are funneling in on both sides of me. I'm standing next to her, and I'm trying to get this to work. So now I hit reset password, goes to my email. I go back to my email. I reset the password, Charlie. I go back to the ballpark app. I type in the new password. That doesn't work. I did it twice. And every time I typed the new password in, it didn't work any of the times. I was like, I'm screwed. I'm totally screwed. I'm not going to see him walk across the field. So I walk back out. Now, mind you, I don't have my car there. I took a shuttle, and my phone is dying. At this point, I'm at like 8%. I'm like, oh my God. So then I walk back out of line. I call Kay, not answering. Texting Kay, not responding. So meanwhile, this guy saw me. He's like, hey, Sparky, can I get my picture with you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, are you going to the game? I was like, apparently not, because I can't get the ticket to come up on my phone. So I don't think I am. No, I'm going to have to be stuck out here waiting for somebody to get back to me before my phone dies. I'm like, yeah, I'll take a picture. Come on. So me and him, we take a picture, whatever else. So this dude's off to like in front of me to my left, and he hears me because I can be kind of loud, and I was not happy. Uh-huh. I didn't yell at any of the people running the thing. I was just mad about the whole situation in general. So I was like, okay. I'm like, so I take the picture. I go and I sit down on this bench because at this point now it's drizzling. I was like, this is going to be just wonderful. I'm going to get slammed by rain. So now I sit down and I'm just sitting there and I'm just waiting, waiting. And this dude who was over there saw me. He comes walking up. He's like, hey, man, you need a ticket to the game. And I was like, I explained. He's like, okay, but do you need a ticket? And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, if you're not going to use it, sure. Hands me a paper ticket. Here you go. I was like, oh, nice. I'm like, that's awesome. Thanks, dude. He's like, yeah, no problem. You want for your kid too for Cub Scouts? I was like, no, he's already in. He's fine. I was like, all right, cool. Thanks. Thank God to that guy. I think he said his name was Ken. Just gave me a ticket. I didn't sit in the section. Nice. But I was like, it was section like 126 were his tickets. It was life-saving.
Section too, to just be handing out tickets.
Well, our seats were 109. But I just needed to get in.
Right.
So then I get in. Praise be the Lord that somebody was there to give me a ticket. So I get in. I go towards like to watch from the concession stands down. I go to the top of the seats. Usher's like, hey, man, what's up? And I was like, I'm trying to see my kid, because then she finally texted me and says, oh, we're on the field. So I come walking up to get to it. And there's just Cub Scouts everywhere walking, right? So now in previous years, they've all been on the Jumbotron. Mm-hmm. So you could take a picture of your kid on the Jumbotron walking through. Nope. Put nobody on the Jumbotron, ran meaningless commercials the entire time the Cub Scouts were out there. So nobody got pictures of their kids on the field unless they were like up against the rail and saw them walk in front.
Nice camera or something.
If you were anywhere else, you were screwed. I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to pick him out of all these Cub Scouts walking through. So I've never saw him walk on the field.
Next year, dye his hair like bright blue, and then you can.
Right. So then he stands up. Exactly. So whatever. So that was a complete failure. I hate digital stuff, man. You can take all of this like technology and all that nonsense.
See, if you wanted to, you could have brought your phone up to the ticket office and they could have charged you, I think it was $12 to get a paper ticket.
No, it wouldn't have worked because I couldn't get the QR code on the phone.
No, you didn't have to. So like if you just went up to them and like, hey, I can't access my ticket on the ballpark app, but I like am the person who purchased the ticket or whatnot, they say, oh, I can print you a ticket, but it costs $12 or something like that to print you the paper ticket.
I didn't know that. That would have been great too. It would
have cost me $12.
It would have got me $12. So I would have at least gotten in had I known where that. I still would have had to find wherever the heck that thing was. That's on the outside.
Yeah, just like the ticket box office.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No. But either way, thank God for that dude who gave me that ticket because I never would have got in. So that was how my night started last night for the Brewers game. Then we're watching the game, and I'm in my seat. Up comes Christian Yelich for the second time. First time, ugly looking strikeout. Lost, completely lost. I'm just watching on. Here we go again with Yelich. Here we go again. Comes up. And Kay was listening to the show yesterday when I was yelling about the lineup, yelling about Yelich, whatever else. She's like, well, at least if he sucks, you can talk about this on there tomorrow. I'm like, no. Like, for the love of God, Yelich, do something. Get a hold of one. Let's go. And sure enough.
Fly ball, right center, deep. Robles on the run. He looks up. There she goes. Christian Yelich brings them to their feet once again. A 3-run home run. 6-0 Brewers. Vintage Yelich.
Vintage meaning old.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Well, I mean, if you're saying like that's what Yelich used to do a lot, then yes, I would say vintage, because isn't vintage old, right? That means like a vintage car.
Yeah, but
that's
you
like
want
an old
want
car.
Vintage things. You want to bring back those types of old things.
No, I don't. That's something else that I get in arguments with all the time at home.
You don't like old things at all?
Like antique sales.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, I thought you said you like going to like antique malls and like.
I like
stores and
walking
stuff.
around shopping, whatever. But my thing is, oh look, it's rusted. Oh, that's vintage. No, it's rusted.
It's not rusted. It's patina, Sparky.
It should be thrown out into the trash. It's garbage. Oh, I'll pay $500 for that vintage rusted out toolbox. Oh, get out of here. Nonsense. No, you can take your vintage and shove it. I have no interest in old things. None whatsoever. But anyways, so Yelich hits that, and I'm like fist pumping and yelling and going crazy. I was like, all right, things are going good. Man, so that's the fifth. So we walk out like bottom of 5, somewhere in that area. I guess maybe it was bottom of 6. Because as we're walking out, because Kay has to get up at like 4 a.m. to go to work, so there was no way we were staying there for the whole game. So as we're walking out, this happens.
Hamilton drives one right center. That's got some carry. It is gone. David Hamilton sends one out of here. It's another 3-pointer for the Brew Crew.
Now, we're being honest. The chance of winning Mega Ball and the chances of Hamilton and Yelich both hitting home runs in the same game, both 3-run homers in this game, the odds had to be relatively the same, right?
Yeah, pretty unlikely.
Winning Mega Ball versus
I
that
wanna go
happening
back
in the
and
same
double-check.
game. I mean, it's got to be relatively close. I mean, Hamilton hasn't hit a home run in like months. Yelich,
He did have that streak where he was like the best power hitter on the team for 4 straight games.
yeah, but that was like in May or something. I mean, there's just no chance. So I'm walking out. Hamilton hits that home run. I was like, well, the Yelich home run is still good because he needed the confidence, needed the home run. And then when the final score ends up being 22-0, Lara's home run, everyone's giving him crap because it was off a position player. Whatever, man. How many home runs have you hit in the big leagues, right? None. So who cares?
I asked this on the wake-up call this morning. Would you rather have your first career home run off of a position player or be the starting pitcher of a combined no-hitter?
Oof.
Because both of them are like, oh, that's a really cool moment, but also like it could have been better if it was just me or off of a real pitcher.
I think combined no-hitter because you're in the record books in MLB history forever. First home run off a position player, nobody talks about you again if you don't do anything in your career.
Uh-huh.
So I would say the combined no-hitter. If we're
Even though
talking
they always
about,
just say, oh, it was like the Reds that had the combined.
I know.
It's not
Doesn't
you.
matter. Could be the Pirates, whatever. But still, when you look at people that have thrown no-hitters in MLB history, your name is going to be a
You're
part
on
of
the list.
that day. Lara hitting a home run off of a position player will never be spoken of again.
If I was Luis Lara, I would not count that as my first career home run.
No,
I know in the books
that's
it
not
was.
how it works.
I know that's not how it works, but if it was me, I would say, oh no, I have to hit another home run this season for it to be my first real one.
I mean, like Lara said, dude, who cares? Like, I'm going to take it. I work hard. It's a whole big deal. How many other people can say they've ever hit a home run in Major League Baseball? Yeah, the ball's going like 30 some miles an hour, whatever, and I crushed it to left. But so what? I crushed it to left. It's not like every person that came up hit a home run in that inning, right?
No.
No,
not every single
Yelich hit a
person.
fly ball and got out.
Yeah, but also again, I don't know. It just feels cheap. Like it'd be like, yeah, it's fun, it's cool, but also like I want
It's
a real
weird.
I want a real home run.
Yeah, I mean, I get that it's weird and all that. I mean, he'll have real home
He
runs
will.
or whatever.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But that's cool. And I didn't see, and I thought I would have saw ESPN Stats Info or somebody would have put out a tweet or something or a post last night about how many players have hit their first home run off of a position player. And then like, who was the last guy have their first career home run off of a position player? And I clearly missed it. I didn't see it on X last night. Not that I wasn't on X a ton last night, but I didn't see it last night. I didn't see anybody retweet it today during the day.
Well, and I'm sure it's not too many because
it cannot be
just recently has this really become a trend. I saw
with position players pitching.
Right, exactly. Like they've thrown like 400 some innings total throughout, or not innings, pitches total throughout the MLB so far this season. And just in like 2018, there was 3 pitches maybe thrown by a position player. Like that recently, it's boomed like this. So I'm
Correct.
probably not too many, but I would assume at least 3 to 4 guys maybe over the past 5-6 years have probably done it just because you
No
have
way.
a lot of young players come up at the end of the season if your team's
4
getting
to
blown out like
5?
this.
That seems a lot. Doesn't
3 to
that-
4. 3 to 4. I would say there's so many young players making their debut recently. Again, especially in the second half of the season, along with these position players getting more innings. I feel like it might be more likely than you think.
I would guess it's less than 5 in the last decade. If I was guessing, it might be less than 3 in the last decade.
You think it's that?
I think it's super rare. And again, if I'm right about this, if it is super rare, then that kind of makes it even a little bit more special that, you're one of like however many in Major League Baseball history to hit their first one off of a position player. It cannot be that common. There's just no way it's that common.
All right, so this is two months ago. Jonah Cox hits his first career home run, which comes off of a position player. It was his first hit and his first homer. That's the first time that in history, or this says Justin De Los Santos, who's a Giants beat reporter, says it might be the first time in MLB history where his first hit and first homer came against a position player.
That's even more rare.
So that's just like both of those things. So it's happened at least once so far this season already before Luis Lara. I feel like it's got to happen a couple times in the past few seasons too.
Let's see. Yeah, there is. When you put it into Google, there is no official tracked MLB stat or public database that tells how many players have hit their first career home run specifically off of a position player pitching. So it's not even documented. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff on who has hit a home run, their very first pitch thrown to them and stuff like that, but not against a position player, doesn't look like. Not at least that I can find.
Well, again, at least two guys I have confirmed so far this season.
Right.
Have done it. So I think at least two this season would say that there's probably been more.
Think so?
I think so.
I mean, I've been a Brewer fan a long time. I don't remember it ever happening.
But again, this trend hasn't started happening until recently with the position players pitching. So it's just different.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. I want to get into the conversation that we've had many of times before. At least I have as a Brewers fan over my lifespan. Tim Allen and I know have had the same conversation after the Brewers get a big game. What's more likely tonight? The Brewers offense stays hot and they throw up a bunch of runs again? Not 22, but they throw 6 or 7 runs up again tonight. Or the bats go silent and, they struggle to score 2 runs tonight. Which one is more likely, in your opinion, to happen? And what did you make of what you saw last night offensively from this Brewers team? It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Dial it up. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio.
100. There's a slider down, base hit. Bauer's going to be wound up. Here he comes. A Rosarena's throw. And Bauer's, oh, the ball's out. Bauer's doesn't recognize it. He gets to the plate. He's safe. Oh, my goodness. What a wild sequence. The ball pops out of Raleigh's mitt.
Really smart heads-up play by Jake Bauers. Watch him go right after the glove. Never does touch the plate. Doesn't realize it, that the ball was never secured, and just barely able to get back. Another good slide by Bauers.
That was all Yelich. That was all Yelich. Yelich is standing over there on the side. Highlight courtesy of Brewers TV. Yelich is standing over there on the side, and Yelich is yelling, I think something along the lines of like, home, 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 or something like that. And then Bauers realized that the ball was out, or he was yelling ball out. And then Bauers dove back to the plate and scored. I mean, he dove over one arm of one catcher, and then last night dove back on another crazy play at home. He's getting beat up, Charlie, making all these sliding plays head first.
Do you think it was truly just an accident that he knocked that ball out of the glove? We were debating this also on the wake-up call.
I don't think you meant to.
Aaron's like saying for sure he didn't mean it. I was like, I don't know. Like, he's a big guy who's about to get tagged out. I wouldn't be surprised if he was putting his body towards the glove to push the ball or try to make a play at least.
He is a big dude.
It's not A-Rod literally punching the glove to get the ball out. Right. No, but also I would see if it's intentional. He's like, okay, let's try to jog the ball loose a little bit here because I'm for sure out.
Sure. No, I could. Yeah, absolutely. I could see that point of view too, but I tend to lean towards accident. Asking you, the Brewers offense stayed hot or was hot last night. Do you think it can stay hot tonight, or do you think it's more likely the bats go silent and they struggle to score 2 runs tonight? We were talking about the likelihood of a position player pitching and a guy getting his first big league home run off of said position player. Charlie found another example.
Kobe Mayo for the Baltimore Orioles last season hit his first career home run against a position player as well. So now that makes 3 guys in the past 2 years. Sparky, I don't know if your theory is going to survive very long.
I don't know. I'm sure you'll keep digging. So you keep digging.
I've looked, it's hard to find. I don't know why they don't like. This feels like something that people would want to document, like as like just a fun little baseball.
Sure.
They document every little stat, on
but not this.
But not this.
Yes.
Of course.
Also, Kobe Mayo, another guy that I was excited for coming up in the Orioles farm system, and he has not panned out as of yet. But I was also super excited about Jordan Walker. It took a little while, and boom shakalaka, here we are with Jordan Walker. So we'll see if it takes a little while for him. Tonight, in case you were wondering, Logan Gilbert on the mound for the Mariners, 9-7 with a 3.28 ERA. Dustin May on the mound for the Brewers, 6-7 with a 4.13 ERA. We'll have the leadoff show coming up at 5 o'clock till 6:30. I'll be hosting that. And then Tim Allen and I back at it tonight, Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. There's another indicator they won't score 22 runs because I'm back hosting postgame tonight with Tim. You can put your money that it'll probably about to go silent.
But they scored 22 while you were at the game, so that maybe is some good luck. Maybe you're just changing. Maybe you're having a good luck charm.
Could be. Yankee John used the Nicolay Law Talk text line. Any stats on a player throwing out number 2 into the stands? Nice. Yeah, that Julio Rodriguez thing, dude. I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean, I'm sure your mind starts wandering when you have a position player
you just
pitching.
Want this game to be over with, man. You're just done.
Yes, it's batting practice. Dude can't get anybody out. I'm sure that he probably wasn't the only one that had it happen, but it just extended that inning even more at that point.
Cleveland Guardians rookie, what's his name? Cooper Ingle earlier this season did that too.
Against who?
Against the Texas Rangers, gifted them a run.
A position player?
Yes.
And he hit a home run.
No, I'm saying the guy threw the ball into the stands on the second out and gave the Rangers.
I got you. So there you go.
I was so confused.
I'm changing. We're changing on what we're looking at now. Yes. Okay, fine. Yeah, so that happened as well. Asking you again, Brewers offense stay hot tonight, or do you think they go silent? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. My favorite one from the 920. Momentum in baseball is as good as the next day's pitcher. Today's Mariner pitcher is pretty good, so I don't expect another crazy game. Ron Rome. Ron, did you? I mean, he listens like every day. Mm-hmm. He missed the whole big momentum conversation we had. Was that during Summerfest we had that conversation?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like a half hour long. It was a really good conversation talking about that line of in baseball is as good as the next day's pitcher. Had a big conversation about that. Let's see here. From the 262, were you okay with William taking the walk with the bases loaded at the end of the game last night? I don't know what Contreras was thinking. I mean, I was listening to it on the radio coming home, like I said, And they were talking on the radio about how Contreras almost seemed miffed that the umpire didn't call that a strike as he wanted to keep batting. Yeah. I don't know what protocol really is, right? So if you're a Major League Baseball manager and it's out of hand like that, what are you telling your guys? Swing at everything. Let's go home. I don't want to be here all night. And then you're screwing your batting average, potentially passing up RBIs, potentially passing up runs scored, hits, all of that. In which case, some of these guys might have incentives. Some of these guys may need this in arbitration at some point going forward. You're gifted a hit or a home run here. You got to take advantage of it because eventually it could end up costing you money at the end of the day. That's why I think it's tough to tell these guys not to go at it.
Well, and I think it's also a situational thing. Like the Brewers in this game knew they didn't have another game until tomorrow night. They get a little time to rest. They've been in a little bit of an offensive slump. It'd be nice to just put runs on the board, as many as you possibly can. Like, I think a lot about the Brewers situation over the past couple weeks says that the guys wanted to keep swinging the bat. I don't think Pat Murphy was going to stop them. Now, if this was maybe tonight, you have a day game tomorrow, 2 day games in a row, you might be a little tired after that. It's one where your offense has been all right. Then maybe Pat Murphy goes, okay, yeah, let's just start swinging the bat. Let's get through this game a little bit. We're going to put real pitchers on the mound. We're not going to put Gary Sanchez on the mound.
But he ended up putting Gary Sanchez on the mound.
He didn't care how this game went. He didn't care how this game finished.
Right. He didn't want to burn a pitcher.
Again, I want to see this Brewers offense get a little confidence. And this feels like a game where they got a little confidence.
Over here to the Dugout YouTube chat, Paul on there says, according to the Dodgers, Ohtani is a position player, or is he a pitcher, or a designated player, a designated hitter player? What is harder to hit, a ball going 37 or 90 plus? Well, Paul, for you and me, it's 37. However, for a guy that's in there seeing that type of speed all the time and then it coming slower, there is a significant adjustment that kind of has to be had of having to wait back and readjust a little bit. The Brewers obviously did fairly well there, but I mean, look at Gary Sanchez. He's pitched a couple of scoreless innings now for the Brewers. That guy yesterday that faced the Brewers, he hadn't given up a run this year yet either to this point. So there is something to kind of adjusting your eye to it to get it to slow down a little bit so you're not way out in front and missing at pitches.
But another stat I saw since 2022, there's been 111 home runs off of position players. So while it does take some time for some of these guys to get adjusted, people are still hitting home runs.
111 in how many innings?
I don't know how many innings for sure that was.
That would be the next question. If it's 111 in 400 innings, 111 in 300 innings, like, you know, what the percentage is.
Shohei Ohtani is officially a two-way player on MLB.com.
Yeah.
Just in case you wanted his actual
when he pitches, he's a pitcher, dude. I'm not considering him a position player pitching at me when Ohtani's on the mound throwing 98.
He's his own thing.
Yeah,
he's his own category.
He's a pitcher. Ziggy texted in earlier and I missed it. Sparky, did you guys enjoy the tornado warning last night? A lot of people found it interesting that they kept playing the game. Well, Ziggy, yes, everybody's phone started going off. Yes, we had a bunch of kids there because it was Cub Scout Pack night. So there were some kids starting to freak out that there was a tornado warning going off on mom and dad's phone. The Brewers, however, at American Family Field, put up on one of their screens that they checked with their meteorologists, essentially, whoever they talk to at whatever the TV stations or whoever they use, and said that there was no concern for where American Family Field was located and that there was nothing close to coming that way towards American Family Field, and there was no need for concern. Then they also said, but things can change suddenly, so we'll keep you informed if something were to change. That is why they didn't stop the game. That is why they didn't move people out of their seats or anything else, and the game kept going because they were told by meteorologists that there was no direct threat at that point to the path of the storm going towards American Family Field. I can tell you, however, that when it got kind of crazy outside with lots of wind, sheets of rain coming in, massive leaks at American Family Field. Now, I was looking around. Now, where were we? We were between like first and third, I want to say, somewhere in that area. And I didn't see any rain, not between first and third, between home and first. I didn't see any rain down the right field line coming through the roof. I didn't see any rain down the left field coming through the roof. All the rain that was leaking was like between the pitcher and the catcher in the infield. That's where all the rain was pouring down from. There were like, I don't know, 4 leaks of just water pouring in onto the infield while they were pitching and hitting. during that.
You would think that would be a big enough problem to for somebody to address it
Nope,
a little
they
bit.
just
at
kept.
least.
Well, what are they going to do?
I guess nothing, but at the same
Nothing they
time,
can do.
you would think one of the catchers, one of the pitchers would have been like, "Hey, listen, dude, this is stupid. What do we?"
It wasn't on the mound, and it wasn't where the catcher was.
guess.
It was on the grass
If I was the
area.
Mariners pitchers, I'd just be like, "Yeah, it was leaking. It was hitting our ball. That's why they kept just hitting us so well."
Well,
Man.
whatever.
It was slowing down our pitches.
Whatever the case may be, but there was
using it as an excuse.
well before the leaks used to come onto the fans. So I'm guessing they definitely fixed that because I didn't see any rain coming down onto where the fans were sitting, at least not from where I was sitting. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. I'm not trying to get anybody irritated that had water pouring on them last night at American Family Field sitting in to see it. I didn't see it. I was looking around to see how many fans were getting wet. All I saw was the one that was coming down on the infield, several things that were leaking. Then came the conversation off of that was, is this like the safest place to be in Milwaukee if there's a tornado rolling through? Like, do you feel pretty safe being in a gigantic baseball stadium?
I feel like Pfizer's probably safer, right?
You think Pfizer
I think
is?
Pfizer probably is.
Yeah,
It's surrounded by more bigger buildings. It is also a giant concrete box that doesn't have a roof that opens or windows on the side that are directly into
the glass,
safe area.
the glass windows or whatever.
I think Pfizer would be safer. Yeah.
That's the other thing too that I guess I never really thought about. Like if you live down in Florida or down in the Gulf and you're building a house, they can put on that hurricane category, windows and that type of stuff. I would imagine those are not on American Family Field.
Probably
and
not.
If you're dealing with tornadoes, not that there's ever been a tornado that went rolling through American Family Field. Obviously there hasn't been, but you just wonder whether or not you would go to that extent to pay the extra money to potentially hope that you don't have windows shattering at American Family Field as objects are flying around, the parking lot or whatever.
I feel like you probably still have to have some kind of high grade glass though, just to avoid any kind of future lawsuit issues or anything like that if something does happen.
I don't know.
I feel like you'd want to be as billionaire Mark Adanasio. If you have the money, might as well spend it to avoid losing any more money in the future.
Right.
I think that's what I would do.
From a 262, I think it's just as likely the Brewers score 10 runs tonight as they lose 2-1. I can't remember a time they scored big time in back-to-back games. I'm with you. Right? I mean, normally in my time growing up, that's normally exactly what happens. You score a ton of runs, and then the next night the offense goes kaput. And yes, they're facing obviously a good pitcher tonight in Logan Gilbert. No question. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out.
They put up 8 and then 11 versus Colorado earlier in the second half. I think that's a good enough streak of back-to-back.
I don't need 8 or 11 tonight. Just give me 6.
5.
Yeah.
I would say 5.
Right.
I mean, earlier in the year, the first series of the season against that White Sox team, 14-6-9. I think that's a pretty good stretch of putting up.
We know the Yankees were able to put up big numbers against the Brewers last season in the opening series. All right, so we'll get more into that as we get deeper into the show. 3:00, we'll get more about Yelich and the crew, and we're going to ask you at 3:00, where would you put Yelich in the lineup going forward? Because I had a problem with them moving him up to 5 last night, and obviously, he did his job and produced. And Contreras went up to 4, and I had issue. We've talked about them at 7. We've talked about Yelich at 6. So I'm just going to put you in Murphy's position. Next month and a half, where are you batting Yelich in the lineup? We'll talk about that coming up at 3:00. But first, coming up next, we'll talk about what happened at Packers training camp earlier today. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. C. Sparky Fiver, Charlie Hughes, and other side of the glass. Hope y'all are well. Potawatomi Sportsbook, 2,000 square foot center screen. Over 30 sporting events at one time you can watch there. 2 levels of seating. Got high top tables, big, massive booths, can fit like 8 people in them. Black leather recliner chairs, the first 2 rows looking up at that gigantic screen. You got the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen, full menu, homemade pastries and desserts every day, all day brunch. Plus, over 40 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. Got the shuttle to take you to and from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. $5 wager or more than you ask for your bracelet. Same day wager. It's got to be a same day wager. Get yourself on the Potawatomi Sportsbook shuttle. And that is legitimately the quickest way out because it's the closest thing to American Family Field. I mean, Blue Mountain is close too, I guess. So that would be another option, but that is still relatively close. At Blue Mountain, you're not making a bet and getting your money back for the money that you paid for your drinks or whatever the case may be when you're going from there. There, you can, make a wager, get your money back that you put down, and come out pretty much taking like a free ride to and from the park without having to pay, the prices that they charge at American Family Field. A couple of text messages coming in. Carrie from Tosa on the Nicolay Law Talking text line from the 414 says, Section 108, row 9 behind home plate, we got wet. But it wasn't a lot, and it was kind of funny. I told people it was a throwback to County Stadium and kept them laughing. Yeah, County Stadium. Charlie's too young to remember County Stadium. County Stadium was gone before Charlie was even born. But yeah, man, I remember sitting in County Stadium, not seeing the outfielders because it was snowing so hard. And they continued to play baseball. It was a white baseball. There's no way anybody could see that baseball if it got hit to the outfield. And they were like snow squalls or whatever the case may be when you're out there going to Brewers games and sitting through 2 and 3 hour rain delays, waiting for the rain to end to get back out and watch your team play. That was like last night in Chicago, that Cubs White Sox game. That thing was deadlocked in the 8th inning, and those fans sat through at least an hour rain delay, I think it was, waiting to see how the game was going to finish. And of course, the Cubs won, Bregman walk-off winner, and that whole deal. But yeah, I do not miss the days of not having a roof. No. I mean, I get down to an open air field. I'm fine with it. I don't understand why you don't put a roof on Target Field when you built that thing. That for the life of me, I don't get it. And Rami led a whole movement when he was on Score North, when that whole thing was going on, and he would have all these guys on from the Twins like, why aren't we putting a roof on this? Like, I don't understand.
Snow games are cool, and I think it's awesome that you let a Midwest state that is known for having snow have some snow during the season.
I think it was the politicians and the public funding didn't want to spend the extra money. I think that's what it came down to.
I'm saying from a fan's perspective, I like that Minnesota and Wisconsin can have a little bit of snow during their sporting events.
Well, I've got breaking news for you. Your stadium in Hammond, Indiana is going to have a damn dome.
It might not be in Hammond, Indiana. Apparently, the Bears are playing Indiana in order to stay in Chicago, according to Mike Florio, like we talked about. So
I know that's wishful thinking from a Vikings fan for you. I don't think I would buy completely into that, but we'll see either way. Even if it's in Chicago or if it's in Hammond, they're putting a roof on it.
Yeah, which is dumb. I think
very
that's
dumb.
So stupid.
You want to talk about George Halas rolling over in his grave?
Oh, yeah.
That would be about it. And you have the McCaskey family that still owns that thing that are going to allow it to occur.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I get it, right? I get it. From the 262, when the Marlins built their new stadium, talking about the windows that we said maybe we should get hurricane-proof glass, in case of tornadoes. When the Marlins built their new stadium, they sold it to the community that it was hurricane-proof, and then it later got damaged in a hurricane from the 262. Yeah, there's no 100% guarantee that you're going to keep it from completely getting damaged, but you still should go out of your way to try and put the safest stuff in that's been tested the most to potentially, prevent that from happening. Now, Wisconsin and tornadoes, Miami and hurricanes. Which one happens more? I don't know. I have no idea.
Miami and hurricanes, probably.
You think we've had like 30 or 40 tornadoes in Wisconsin already?
Yeah, but I guess it's not like the whole state, like Wisconsin versus just Miami, specifically Miami.
City specific, right?
Yeah, I think I bet Florida probably gets overall more hurricane damage across the entire state than maybe Wisconsin
on a year-to-year basis.
Tornado damage across the entire state.
That's a good question. I don't know. I do not know.
I bet that's out there somewhere.
Okay, I want to get into some of the Packers training camp stuff that happened earlier today. And of course, we'll get to our green and gold update coming up at 4:00, like we always do. So, Keyshawn Nixon, David Bakhtiari started this thing on X earlier today, and he's been going back and forth with people. Pretty much saying, like, what is the beef with Keyshawn Nixon with Packers Twitter? Or has he been toast this entire camp? Do you know who Keyshawn Nixon was working with? What group he was working with today in the corners?
He was with the threes for a period of time last time I saw.
The threes.
Yeah, but Andy Herman also put it. Andy Herman put out some context that said it was just
they weren't going
stuff.
full speed. They weren't going full speed, he said. I know what he said, but he still got beat a couple of different times. And to Andy Herman's point, and he's trying to defend Keyshawn. That's the latest thing now with everybody. Everybody's trying to defend Keyshawn's feelings. That's fine. Y'all can say whatever you want about trying to protect Keyshawn. He's still rolling with the threes. How many times did Charles Woodson roll with the threes back in the day, half speed or full speed? Probably not. How many times was Tremont Williams, after he was named a starter, rolling with the threes? Like, I just don't know how common that truly is at this point to be doing that. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you all can't figure this out between LaFleur and him, or whoever the beef is with him, if this can't be worked out, then just trade him.
Or
Then
cut him.
just
Do
be
whatever you're
done.
going to do with him.
No, you got to get something for him.
Why?
I mean, he was just a Pro Bowler at corner. Regardless of how real you say that is or not, Charlie, you still had to get some value. Like you said yesterday, who was it that in the fifth?
A fifth round pick is what I was saying.
Who was there? Who had the extra fifth?
That was, who were we talking about now?
I don't know. But Charlie said
forgot,
somebody had an extra fifth. I said, perfect. Send him over there. Take the extra fifth round pick back for Keyshawn Nixon. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to waste everybody's time and having this dude run with the threes, then by all means, just move him, man. If you all can't figure it out, just move on. Because you're not helping the matter any, because now you're running with the threes. So now what's happening? So now everybody on social media is like, oh my God, they demoted him to the threes. How bad is he right now? So now you're just absolutely.
The Dolphins, that's who we were talking
right,
about.
with Halfley. You're just killing him publicly by running him out there with the threes.
Tell him to play better.
If you go through all of this and you read all of this as it's going on, right? So, for instance, I pick a random tweet by Andy Herman from the Pack a Day podcast. Javon Hargrave making his presence felt early with a would-be sack. But does it count if everybody's not going full speed?
No, probably not.
No, probably not. But it doesn't say that in that tweet. The long tweet defending Keyshawn was later afterwards and then saying, well, they really weren't all going that way.
But that was also everybody, after everybody went in on the tweet that he was practicing with the third stringers. Like, I don't think people were starting to freak out about Javon Hargrave and that he had to then defend Javon Hargrave. No, it was that people freaked out over Keyshawn Nixon playing with threes.
As also, they Andy should.
But also, Andy, you were the one that put that out there. You knew that was going to be the reaction for all these people that have been hating on this.
No, to I'll defend Herman. You're just reporting facts. He wasn't making anything up. He was just reporting what he was seeing. I have no problem with that. Andy Herman, play of the day, McCord, the third-string quarterback, to Sturdivant on a deep corner for a big touchdown. Perfect ball. Sturdivant, an easy step on Llewellyn. I don't know if Sturdivant's going to make this team or not, but I liked him when they signed him as a free agent, non-drafted free agent, and I still like him now. I know he has a drop here or there, but he makes big plays for these guys, man. Whether it be in training camp in the first preseason game, like he's just doing his stuff. A couple of other things here from him. Nixon falls on a slant against Christian Watson. Watson picks up a big gain, shakes his ankle out a bit, but jogs off. Again, Keyshawn Nixon falling down. Is that worthy of yelling and screaming about Keyshawn Nixon? I mean, they're all going to fall, right? Christian Watson might fall running a route this year at some point in the game. More than likely, these corners are going to fall at some point, getting beat on a play.
But those guys aren't under microscopes.
Correct.
And fighting for their starting position and all
Agreed.
these other things. Like, that's going to be a lot bigger stage for Keyshawn Nixon if he's the one falling down versus a Christian Watson.
Yep. Brenton Cox continued his great camp, goes right through Anthony Belton for a pressure. Anthony Belton has just not done well. I mean, yesterday was horrible. He had a horrible day yesterday based on everything that I've seen. So that wasn't good. And then you've got Trayvon Diggs. Diggs, who earlier today goes to the Seahawks. And we'll talk about Hard Knocks. That whole thing with Terry and Arnold.
Oh. That was all I was waiting for this week. I
have lots of thoughts on the Terry and Arnold to the Seahawks deal with John Schneider. Lots.
And it needed to happen because Mike McDonald is still so boring. He still makes me so mad, dude.
How bad is your cornerback room that now you've signed Diggs? You already signed Arnold. I mean, that screams that John Schneider for the Seahawks, the general manager, simply does not trust his cornerbacks. at all.
Well, that's why
he's
he
going
paid
out and
Devin
getting these
Witherspoon
vets.
so much money too.
Yes.
That's the other reason you have to buy into that. I mean, they lose Tariq Woolen in the offseason.
Yep.
That's a big deal, even though he didn't play that well last season. This is a defense that I also think has shown they can work with random guys in that spot before in the past. So let's see if they can do it again.
Yep, no doubt. Savion Williams with a big play today. I'm sure you saw it on social media, jumping up in the air and snatching the ball. He can high point a ball now. He can go make the spectacular play. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. More about the crew. We'll talk about Yelich's performance last night. Where would you bat him in the lineup moving forward?
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here. Charlie using over there. Leadoff show coming up tonight right here from 5 until 6:30. I'll be hosting that one. Oh, Tyler Warren left practice with an apparent groin injury. Oh, that's not good for fantasy football players. Well, we'll see how that plays. Nice thing is when you have football players that get hurt this early in training camp with stuff like that, that's not too crazy. You're like, like a month to the season starts.
Yeah, you get some time.
Yeah, not overly panicky. But I know there's a lot of people that have already had their fantasy football drafts now are like pins and needles watching these training camp practices. The joint practice fight yesterday. Who was it? Was it Scott Steiner's kid? That German suplex a Cowboys player on the field for the Saints.
Brock Rechsteiner.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, that type of stuff. Are you kidding me? But anyways. So, yeah, just you'll be fine. Most of these guys will be fine during the course of the year. It is 3:00, and Josh Albrecht is calling me. Does Josh not know when I'm on the air?
Yeah, exactly, dude. You work at the station with us, man.
Like when my dad calls me, it's like, oh, he's busy with his job, like not knowing what time it is. What is Josh doing? He's just hanging out, right?
I think so, as far as I know.
I mean, like he's got like 2 or 3 other jobs that I don't know of. Maybe he does. I don't know.
If you wanted to talk about what we're talking about, we got talking text line. You can hop on.
Talking text line, right? Exactly. It is 3:00.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Okay. So, I want to tell you the latest transactions for the Brewers. Good news. Cooper Pratt's back. That's good, right? Reinstated from the 10-day injury list, so we'll get Cooper Pratt back at shortstop. That's positive. Juwan Bay, baby. He is cleared waivers. He's going to Nashville. Not sure why they kept him, but regardless. So he's going to Nashville. This is the part of the story that I don't quite understand. Instead of saying, Ornelas, we're good. See you later. We got an infielder back. They don't option Ornelas. Instead, they option Brandon Lockridge back to AAA Nashville. And when we saw this in the break, Charlie's like, well, that's because Sal Frelick's going to be coming back. Fair. But why still wouldn't you option Ornelas, who clearly is the last man I would think on this roster right now?
Because G1 Bay being outrighted in Nashville like that no longer keeps him on the 40-man roster, I don't believe. According to their updated 40-man roster, he's not on it, but Ornelas is. So I think that's part of the reason. So that still makes it 40 with Bay, even though he's in Nashville, he's not on the 40-man.
I still don't think why do we need Ornelas on the roster, regardless of
what
that
40,
is?
Because it just keeps it at 40.
Who cares? It's just one less player. I'm going to use Lockridge before I'm going to use Ornelas. But at the end of the day,
maybe they don't think that.
Well,
maybe the Brewers and Pat Murphy are like, we got 2 day games in a row here. Let's just throw these guys out here.
So now you're going to bring up Frelick and send Ornelas down then? Is that what we're doing? Roster.
And that's probably going to happen tomorrow based on what we're seeing, but we're still not sure. Sal Frelick might get one more AAA start.
Roster gymnastics. And then we get to see how much Frelick's going to play versus Lara in the outfield. That will then be the next thing. Now, the one thing about Lara that we've seen already is they started pulling Garrett Mitchell off the field and starting Lara in center field. So you may now start to see a rotation of the 3 outfielders in center and right, where Churio's locked in left, and then Lara and Frelick potentially could be in the outfield together with Churio. So that then means you have a slap hitter in Frelick, a slap hitter in Lara, another one in Joey Ortiz, all 3 of those cats sitting at the bottom of the lineup again.
Yeah, with David Hamilton probably mixed in there too.
No, Ortiz would be at third. So Hamilton wouldn't be playing.
I guess. Unless Hamilton is switching for Ortiz. Either way. Power hitter.
Either way. Yeah, when Hamilton's
so
playing.
Used to seeing Hamilton out there now.
Yeah, when Hamilton is out there, then you're going to have all 3 of those guys stacked at the bottom of the lineup, right? I mean, that would be my assumption. They're all stacked at the bottom. Can't say I'm a big fan of that from a lineup perspective, but I was not a big fan of the lineup yesterday. And I said on the air, covered my butt. I said look, we've complained about lines before, and then they go out and score a ton of runs. That's exactly what happened last night with the Milwaukee Brewers. Fine. Yelich has the big home run. Bowers has a home run. Lara has a home run, right? Home run derby for the Milwaukee Brewers. I want to stay right here on Christian Yelich if y'all don't mind hearing. Okay? Let's stay focused on Yelich for a little bit. You're Pat Murphy. You get to make the lineup every day. Now, every day changes, right? Because you got all these numbers and all these stats, and this guy does this in this situation, and it's kind of cloudy today, and it's a little bit more humid inside the roof today, so we're going to move this guy down 2 spots and all this. And yet, these same guys will tell you the lineup construction doesn't really matter. It's not that big of a deal. Yet, they've got a million things that go into building a lineup, which a lot of it probably is considered nonsense if you talk to an average fan of how they view half of the stuff. But where would you put Yelich? Where would you put him? Where would be his home? Because right now, nobody really has a home in this lineup, if we're being honest. Murphy can't settle with anybody in any given spot. Nobody can get comfortable batting second. Nobody can get comfortable batting third. Nobody can even get comfortable batting leadoff, because every day we change the lineup to see what happens. Now, is that good for the offense? Doesn't appear to be all that great for the offense based on how this offense has struggled. Would it be better that this offensive lineup just got set and everybody knew where they were batting day in and day out and give it a stretch run to see what it looks like? Because now you're getting relatively healthy here. You're about to get Frelick back, right? You have Pratt back at shortstop. So first, second, short, and third, that's all now healthy. Your catcher has been healthy pretty much all year in Contreras. You've had no issues there. Churio's been pretty much healthy. No issues there. Mitchell, praise the Lord, has not gotten hurt. So he's been solid in center field. So now you have everybody back at your disposal where you can build a lineup, set it, and leave it if you so choose, which we all know they won't choose to do. Do you think they get paid extra for every different lineup they put out there? Like Murphy gets a little extra bonus. Just say, man, not only am I manager of the year, I ran out there 100 different lineups throughout the course of the year, and we led all of baseball in wins. Do you know how hard that is to do to make those many different lineups and still win baseball games?
I think some of these lineups we see some nights, it feels like that. Sometimes you see these dudes in the most random spots all over the place, and you're like, what are you thinking? Like, I get it that you maybe don't care as much because you don't have a full lineup out there because you haven't had a healthy roster. So be it. You still, I feel like, have to make sure that the guys that are healthy, that are going to be a part of that roster, are in the same spot almost every single time. And it feels like that has not been the case for an entire solid week throughout this season once.
Nope, it hasn't. I got a bunch of people using the Nicolay Law Talking text line. 920 said, they said Ortiz rolled his ankle last night. I missed that part. So minor, but I'm sure that's the reason in keeping Ornelas for now. Very well could be. From the 920, different 920 number. Did Yelich's trade stock go up? How much more time does that home run buy him from being benched? Come close to the radio. Closer. He's not getting benched. Doesn't matter how bad he is.
Even before the home run.
He's not getting benched. It's not happening. Okay, you can go back now. I mean, I just don't think it's a secret. It's just not a secret. The man's not being benched. What would you have to hope for is he gets going. And hopefully last night is the first of many where he gets hot. I don't want anybody to think I'm rooting against this cat. I'm not. I'm rooting for the dude to get going. But at the same time, the conversation still needs to be, if he doesn't, are you really going to suffer through this and watch this play out for the entire rest of the season and through the playoffs? The answer appears to be yes, absolutely. But it doesn't mean it's not going to be frustrating from a fan standpoint if that happens. Now, the question is, where would you bet Yelich in the lineup moving forward? Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Me personally, knowing you have slap hitters that are going to be stacking up at the bottom of this lineup potentially, I don't want a bunch of slap hitters at the bottom of the lineup all stacked up back to back to back. Like I just don't have any interest in having that right now. I mean, you're potentially talking about a lineup on a day that Garrett Mitchell is off, where you're going to have Frelick, Lara, Hamilton, and Pratt at the bottom of one lineup. That is the last 4 hitters in your lineup, 6 through 9.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be pretty. And then you have Yelich. So it potentially could be Contreras 4, Yelich 5, and then what? Pratt 6, Frelick, Lara, Hamilton. Like, that's not going to do. What are we doing with that? Like, are you think you're going to make a run in the postseason with that lineup if that's the plan here?
No,
I mean,
but
having one guy in right field, and you're going to rotate the 2 slapstick hitters in Frelick and Lara, okay. If Mitchell's coming out to get one of those other guys playing time too, that's going to kill this lineup. Then on top of that, if you're not going to play Joey Ortiz every day at third base and it's going to be David Hamilton, that's another guy. I know. He hit a home run last night, Sparky. Good for David Hamilton. I'm just saying for you, like, that's even less power that's going to be in this lineup. If it's me, Yelich is going somewhere to break that up at the bottom of the lineup. And if it's me, I am not letting Terang and Churiel bat at the top of this lineup. I'm not. I'm going back to what I said prior last year, and I think it will work. I want Sal leading off. Put him back at the top of the lineup. On days when he's off and Lara hits, Lara's at the top of the lineup. I want this to be a deeper lineup behind them to get these guys farther back. Cooper Pratt is never batting 8 or 9 again. Cooper Pratt is moving up, and he can sit there between Mitchell and Yelich or Contreras and Yelich, whatever, to kind of break it up a little bit. And then at the bottom of that lineup, then you can talk about having Hamilton out there. And then if you're stuck without Mitchell out there too, Hamilton and then whoever is in center field. If that's Lara and Hamilton at the bottom. Now, I know that means there's 3 slapsticks from 8, 9, and 1. I get that part of it. But at least from that perspective, you have a little bit more of a chance of a table setter at the beginning. Frelick's going to get a few more at bats. Frelick did well last year, if memory serves correctly, with some bats behind him. It's, in my opinion, and JJ Hardy will back me up, it is a lot harder to bat at the bottom of the order with no significant offensive threat anywhere around you. It's way more difficult to do than if you're at the top of the lineup surrounded by really good bats and you know you're going to see pitches because they don't want to face Churiel, or they don't want to face Terang, or they don't want to face Contreras when he's going. That's a lot easier, and you see better pitches. And that's why, again, to me, the guy that's batted at the top of the lineup, that would be a guy that I'd like to see. By the way, did you see the Jaden Higgins Texans report?
I did not.
Torn ACL. That affects fantasy football if you took Jaden Higgins.
He's on my dynasty team.
So that just came across the bottom line on ESPN. So there you go. That's another updated one for you. All right. Where do you want to see Yelich about?
Sal Frelick, by the way, last season batting leadoff, just in case you want to know, had a 309 average, an 845 OPS, 9 home runs, 37 RBIs, 21 walks to 36 strikeouts at 7 stolen bases.
And of course, we aren't going to leave him there. We have to move the lineup every day and change things. To me, that's his best position. That's where I bat him, and then slide everybody down. That would be my play. But I know they won't do it for very long. Even if they try for a day or two, we'll switch it because nothing can stay the same. Charlie, what about Yelich?
Even before the season, and going to your concerns about having that load of slap hitters down at the bottom of the lineup, I think you still had the same concerns heading into the season. Whether or not you expected Christian Yelich to have the type of season he continued to have last year, the 3 seasons before that, 2 of them he didn't hit home runs, and the third one he got injured. Jake Bauers heading into the season was not supposed to be a consistent type of power hitter that we've seen from him so far this season. So you can equal those 2 guys out there if you expected Christian Yelich to be at that spot. With Luis Rengifo and Brandon Lockridge on this roster to open the season, I didn't expect them to hit too many home runs there either. I expected the bottom of their lineup to be loaded with slap hitters at that point too. I think, yes, we can try to adjust this lineup and move guys up and down, but unless you're putting Gary Sanchez into this lineup consistently at that 7 hole, that is how the bottom of your lineup is just going to look all the time with the way that they've constructed this roster. So I don't know if there's really an answer to fixing that or making that any better while also keeping Christian Yelich within the lineup at that point too. I kind of like him at 5. I kind of like him in the middle of this lineup to be that reset hitter because it gives him what he's been over the past few seasons when he was batting leadoff in place of a Sal Frelick, or the year before that when he was just consistently that leadoff type of guy, or the 2 years before that. it allows him to play that same kind of role that he's had experience with in the past few years, while also still being in the middle of the lineup and having protection from the top and below him there too. Like, I think that's just a good spot for him to be. And you saw he felt comfortable in that spot yesterday. And again, everybody
felt comfortable.
Everybody did. But we're watching Christian Yelich. We don't really care if everybody else feels comfortable in a game like that. If Christian Yelich feels like he's going, and he did get going in a game like that, you have to allow him to try to keep that hot hand. You can move everybody else around, but I think you try to keep him in a similar spot.
For the 262, fire Murphy and hire Sparky. He knows best. No, I've never said I could manage this team one way or the other, but this is the nice thing, 262. I'm allowed to have an opinion, as are you. I know some fans choose not to have an opinion on anything in sports and just say, they get paid. I trust what they do. I'm not that person. Like, I have an opinion on every facet of life, not politics, because I really don't follow politics. But outside of that, on everything else, I probably have an opinion one way or the other. May agree, may disagree, but I'm not going to stop giving my opinion. It's from the 262. Sal leading off means the opposing pitcher throws 6 to 9 pitches on the first hitter. That's good. That's a positive. That's not a negative. That's a positive. I'll take 6 to 9 pitches every time.
And Jackson Churio, they're not doing that right now. Those guys just love swinging the bat.
Yes.
And yes, they're going to be more consistent power hitters potentially, but it's not eating away those pitch counts, and that's something that the Brewers have struggled with in games that they lose.
Yep. From the 262, Schwartz Center says, I hated the last playoffs when Murphy led off Yelly in the playoffs after not leading off most of the season. That's from Schwartz Center. I don't, again, if we go back over the course of Brewers history, you can pick whoever. If you want to go to Renicky, if you want to go to Yost, if you want to go to Maka, you can go over any of these guys. Very rarely have Tim Allen and myself ever really agreed on much as far as lineups. I will say we barely ever had major issues with the Braun Fielder teams because it was just a set lineup every day. Everybody knew their roles. A guy here or there might need a day off and it would change, but for the most part, it was the same lineup, and those dudes appreciated their roles as far as knowing where they were going to be every day. And it gets to be more difficult, I think, when you're continuously getting moved all around the lineup. And maybe that's by design, to keep the players on edge, not to let them get comfortable. Maybe that's all kind of part of it. Or you're just simply going off of numbers and everything else as far as why you're maneuvering things around. And clearly it works. You had the most wins in baseball last year. You're doing the same thing this year. So clearly it's been working. But you see, for me, it's about the playoffs. It's for me, this isn't about necessarily tonight, tomorrow, whatever. Like, they're going to win games regardless of where anybody is in the lineup. Like, we know this. They have a good enough pitching to win games the rest of the season. Regardless if this offense gets good or not, they're still going to win close games. 4-3, 3-2, 2-1. They're going to win games, okay? What I'm saying is, when you start talking about this lineup and how you win in the postseason and how this works when you get to the playoffs, you saw last year what happened in the playoffs. So what's going to be different this year in the playoffs than what was last year? Last year in the playoffs, they had an opening pitcher, an opener in a playoff game. That will not happen this year with what you currently have. No. I mean, Harrison again last night dominates at home, right? 5 innings, looked great. So that's what he does. Again, back to what we said yesterday. That's why you pitch him in game 2 in a playoff series, or game 4 if you're not the home team. So this is what it's about, is trying to figure out how this looks when you get to that point. Because odds are highly, highly against this Brewers team having some other type of player on this roster that's going to make a large impact between now and the end of the season. We'd all like to see a hotshot prospect get called up and put into position to go out there and succeed, but it's just probably not going to happen at this point. No. We got our hopes up for Luke Adams, and that never happened.
Again, they went into this season with a plan of having a roster that looks just like this. Like, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they wanted. They knew what Pat Murphy wanted. Like, this is what they have. So any kind of dream of hoping that anything else is going to change, this is the roster they have. And it's a roster that's won a whole lot of games.
Yes.
So let's work with it. Let's see what we can do.
906, Nicolay talking text line, split up the big bats and put the slap hitters between them. They essentially did that last year, remember, when they were batting Sal Frelick 5th. Remember that? And I was like, what are we doing? Why is he batting 5th? But it was essentially kind of like, in their minds, a second leadoff hitter in the middle, and it broke up a couple of the bigger bats in the middle of the lineup. So between Contreras and Vaughn, or between Contreras and Bowers, or however this thing is going to play out. If you look at these guys, let's say you went Frelick at the top of the order, and then you had Terang at 2, Cheerio at 3, Bowers at 4, Contreras at 5, and then let's say it's Cooper Pratt at 6, then Yelich at 7, 8 is no, actually, check that, rewind. Let's say Garrett Mitchell's in the lineup. Okay, because I was doing this with Frelick and Lara both in lineup. That's not going to be their A lineup. Their A lineup has to have Garrett Mitchell in the lineup, right? So, all right, so Frelick is your leadoff hitter, then Terang, then Cheerio, then Bowers, because he's been your most clutch hitter. I don't think that's arguable. So Cheerio, or him at 4, then Contreras at 5, then Mitchell at 6, Yelich at 7, Pratt at 8, and then Hamilton at 9, or Ortiz at 9. That's okay. I like that lineup. I'm good with that lineup. I'm not going to be good with the end of the lineup having Frelick, Lara, and Ortiz and Pratt at the bottom. Like that, I'm going to be livid about. But what we just set up there, that's Vaughn is still on the bench in that scenario. Mm-hmm. Lara is still on the bench in that scenario because Frelick's in right, Mitchell's in center. So you got those two. Gary Sanchez is still on the bench in that scenario. So you've got those 3. So you've got 2 guys with some power in Vaughn and Sanchez. You've got pretty decent speed guy in Lara, another decent speed guy in Hamilton if Ortiz is starting at 3rd. So you've got 2 speed guys and 2 guys that can deliver some pop. Like that's, to me, I like that setup. Like, let's roll with that and see how this plays out going forward, moving, between now and the end of the year.
What I think is also pretty awesome about this Brewers team, too, is that if you wanted to go, okay, maybe not their A lineup, but let's put their fastest lineup. Let's put their best defense lineup. Let's put their best power lineup out there. You look at those lineups, and I think you still say, oh, that's a team that can win a baseball game right there. Whether it's, again, that power lineup. So maybe you put Andrew Vaughn at 3rd base because he's been practicing at 3rd base a little bit here. Gary Sanchez isn't at that DH. I think you look at that lineup and you say that's a lineup that can win a baseball game for this team. Same with the defense lineup. And when you head into the playoffs, you need to be able to have those cohesive style lineups to play any kind of situation that you might have, especially if you're a team that doesn't have that one kind of true certain play style like the Brewers just don't. They just win games, and it's by any means necessary.
Correct.
And if you can have 4 different squads that can go out there at any given time and win by any means necessary, you feel pretty good about that.
This is from the 920. I've literally been saying this since May. Lara and Frelick need to lead off. Lara sees 5+ pitches each at bat. He is literally the definition of a leadoff hitter with his plate discipline, contact percentage, and so much speed. Postseason lineup should be 1, Lara or Frelick in right field, Terang at 2nd, Cheerio at left, Bowers cleaning up at 1st base, Vaughn as the designated hitter batting 5th, Contreras batting 6th, Mitchell batting 7th, Pratt batting 8th, and Ortiz batting 9th, and playing 3rd base. Yelich pinch hits only from the 920. Vaughn has to be in the playoff lineup, guys. It's not even a discussion. How do you seriously leave Vaughn on the bench? That is literally insane. 920. I'm with you 100%. But at the same time, there is a much better chance that he's at 3rd base than Yelich is on the bench. Mm-hmm. If we're just being honest, it's a much better chance that Ortiz is the one that doesn't have the seat at the table come playoff time, and Vaughn is playing 3rd, and they're just hoping he doesn't make any type of big error to cost them a game, and rolling with the idea of his offense will come through, because they're just not benching Yelich, guys. They're just not. But I'm with you on Vaughn. I mean, that lineup, if you take Ortiz out, now Pratt is 9, and say all of a sudden now Mitchell is 8 potentially in that situation.
Unless this person is saying that Frelick and Lara both aren't in the lineup, and then it's Bowers in right field.
No. He's got Frelick, or he or she. You never know on a text message. Lara/Frelick in right field. So whoever's playing in right leads off. Terang's at 2nd. Cheerio's in left. Bowers is at 1st. Vaughn is DHing, batting 5th. Contreras catching. Mitchell batting 7th. Pratt 8th at shortstop. Ortiz hitting 3rd. Now, again, if you took Vaughn out, put Yelich in as the DH, now that lineup changes, because now Vaughn's at 3rd. He stays batting 5th. Contreras bats 6th. Mitchell bats 7th. Yelich could potentially bat 8th, and then Pratt is batting 9th. That lineup is really good if you go that route.
You could.
Offensively.
Again, I just like 7th feels like the deepest I would see Christian Yelich be put in any Pat Murphy lineup.
It's going to be that or on the bench. I mean, they're going to play him no matter what. We know that. It's just a matter of where he is played and how he gets played. From the 920, a different number. I agree with your lineup, but I'd love to hear what it would look like with Vaughn and Lara in there. I don't, like we just kind of talked about, I don't, it's Lara or Frelick. Whoever's in right field, not Jake Bowers. Whoever's in right field is leading off for me. That's the end of the story on that one. Then it's what we talked about, right? Then it's Terang, then it's Churio, and then you have your conversation going from there. Got a bunch of text messages flagging here. We'll get to some more of those. See, people say, lineup talk doesn't work on the radio. It's so boring. Not when your team is good and you're talking about trying to win a World Series. It's not boring. See Sparky Fiver here. Charlie Usen over there. Nikolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. I was just at Wendy's earlier today. Took the kids. Got myself a double stack and a small thing of chili.
They've been having a fun week, by the way. They get all the dad lunches and stuff. I remember that was always the best.
Dude, they've never had this. My older kids never got to come to work with me, 3 straight days? This is the last day. Then tomorrow and the rest of the week's not happening because we leave tomorrow night for the Dells because my kid's playing in a baseball event in the Dells this weekend. So I won't be here on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But yeah, so they got 3 days because our sitter's on vacation. And then next week, back to the sitter and no more of this. Hey, do you want to score a free Wendy's Frosty Classic this summer when the Timber Rattlers, proud high affiliate of the Brewers, record 10 strikeouts in a game? They did last night. You can go to any Wisconsin Wendy's and get a free small Frosty Classic. Follow the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers on X or Instagram as they post after every game with 10 strikeouts. This offer is only good for 24 hours following the game. All right, come back. We'll continue to take some more of your text message stuff, asking you where to play Yelich. Now, this has also evolved into what this lineup should really look like for the postseason as well. We'll get to all of that straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky, Pfeiffer, Charlie, use it over there. Leadoff show comes up at 5 o'clock. We'll hear from Pat Murphy from before today's game. I would assume Cooper Pratt will talk before the game today since he's been activated off the IL. So hopefully we'll get a little Cooper Pratt to play back for you today too. 90-minute pregame show today from 5 to 6:30. Then after the last pitch, you make the switch to the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Myself, Tim Allen. I've only got 2 left. I've got today. I've got tomorrow afternoon. And then I will probably be around for daytime postgame show somewhat with Tim. But Evan Heffelfinger, who we brought on, is going to do a majority of these postgame shows after this. Aaron Morris is going to be doing Saturdays with Tim. So you won't hear nearly as much of me and Tim after tomorrow. I know some of you will be very excited about that. And others, you'll be like, oh, that kind of sucks. You guys are fun together.
Are you going to miss it? Was it nice to be back on it?
I love doing shows with Tim. Like, if it was me and Tim doing a daily show every day, that would be a blast. I'd have a lot of fun with that. If it was Tim and I talking about golf or NASCAR or basketball, whatever. I mean, we've known each other since 1994. So it doesn't matter what we're talking about. We'll have fun with it and try to make it entertaining and have a good time with it. So that's good. But I miss my family, man. Like, that's just, at the end of the day, if I was single, cold, and lonely still, that's what I was doing back in 2005, 2006. I was doing Brewers postgame, Packer postgame, Bucks postgame, NASCAR show, bowling show, plus my daily show during the week. I was working like 80 hours a week back in my 20s.
And then you grew apart.
For little to no money. But I was doing it because I love the station. I love doing what I went to school for, and it wasn't work. It was fun. Every show was fun. Every show was different, so I loved it. And then you get older, you have family, you have kids, and then that becomes a pretty important part of your life as well. One of which I do not want to miss because of my job.
Probably bigger than pretty important.
Yeah. You know what?
Most important.
Listen, man, there are some people, and this isn't a knock on other people doing what we do or whatever, but there are some people that decide that their career is more important than their family. And in fact, I've seen multiple people. Do you know who Charlie Rose is?
The name sounds familiar.
Charlie Rose had his own interview talk show for years. I love Charlie Rose. And interviewed, I want to say it was Morgan Freeman, the actor. And they got into a conversation about family and chasing their career and so forth. And at the end of the day, they chose their career over everybody else. And they just said, to hell with it. Like, good luck to y'all. I love you, but I'm going to go chase my dreams. And that was it. See you later. Bye-bye. And I personally am not willing to do that. Family means too much to me. So this stretch in the temporary, fine. We'll get through it. It's fine. No big deal. Doing this for like the next 10 years at this rate, I would be divorced and never see my kids again. That cannot be a thing. Okay. Some more text messages coming in here from the 920 talking about, well, all of this stuff. Now, see, this is the problem here, Charlie. I got to try and piece all of this together to see how this literally is, how this all fits in. It says, you are right. Murph is playing Yelich no matter what. It sucks complaining about it week after week, but he is just that bad. If they don't win it all,
everyone will
be talking about it, how it cost them their season by playing Yelich all year. It's not like we don't have any other option. They have so many options that are on their current roster. If Yelich is out of the picture, it makes the entire roster better, offensively and defensively. He is weighing the team down and will continue to do so as long as he's in the lineup. Quote, you're only as strong as your weakest link, end quote. The Brewers' weakest link is without a doubt Christian Yelich, and he has been very weak. That being said, go Brewers. Can I add on to the go Brewers part with that being said?
Yeah, sure.
How many of you feel like if you complain too much about your favorite team, then people start questioning whether or not you're really a fan of that team? Do you really like the team? Because all you do is complain nonstop, blah, blah, blah. You're so negative. You don't even like the guys. Why do you even watch them? All you do is complain. Man, I have heard that my whole life. I was going to say, it sounds like
that's coming from personal experience.
I have heard that my whole life. No, man, like everybody can be passionate in their own ways. Some people can be somewhat passionate by just cheering for whoever's on the field, not caring about anything else, not caring about numbers or stats or who's hot and who's not. And that player is cute, so that's my favorite player, and I don't care about anything else of how good or how bad that person is. Everybody can root in their own ways. For me personally, like all other aspects of my life, I'm always trying to find the perfect thing, the perfect way of doing something or wanting perfection for my kids, which is unfair. But that is kind of who I am to a certain degree. And that's why I get frustrated and angry at times when people get mad at me for wanting my team to do better or wanting more in certain situations out of different people, Charlie.
Yeah, I get that. But also at the same time, I think when you talk about like this conversation that we're having with this texter, the weakest link all the time, and when you're having such a fun season overall and this team has been so good, I think if you start harping on the weakest link all the time, you're just going to constantly be asking for that weakest link to leave. If Christian Yelich is off this roster, are people just going to jump back on Joey Ortiz all over again and ask for him to be cut from this roster? Like, it's just going to, the cycle is just going to keep going. This is a very competitive team, obviously the best team in Major League Baseball right now. I think you have to look at that and say, yes, they do have a weakest link, but every team is. The Dodgers have a weakest link. Edwin Diaz has been awful for them, but they're also not just going to cut Edwin Diaz right now because he's playing bad. They're going to try to work through it because they paid him a lot of money. Sounds like the Brewers with Christian Yelich, because they're going to try to work through it. And because in the past, he's been that type of player, and they know that he can be that type of player again if they get him at the right moment and use him at the right moment, and that the rest of their team can back him up if he is going to struggle again. And I think the Brewers feel very similar to that with Christian Yelich, is that if he can get going at the right moment, at the right time, if he can hit a few home runs, if he can look like last year's Yelich, hopefully if he can maybe look like even better than last year's Yelich, you have something out of that. And if he doesn't look like that, we can still win baseball games. We've shown that throughout this entire past couple of years. We're okay.
I think tomorrow on the show, tomorrow we're against the Brewers game. So maybe next week, because I'm off on Friday. Next week, write this down. I want to do a topic of, do you think the Brewers can win the whole thing if Christian Yelich isn't in the lineup game to game in the playoffs? Do you think they have enough to win the whole thing without Yelich in the lineup? Because Murphy had said previously, and I said yesterday, I've agreed with Murphy, that if Christian Yelich isn't going in the right way, that they're probably not going to win this whole thing. They need him going. I'm curious how many of you would agree with that statement or not. So we'll get into that maybe on Monday or Tuesday. Packers play Friday night, so there'll probably be plenty of Packer talk on Friday. But there's also going to be Brewers talk because the Brewers got a big series against the Braves this weekend. Braves are another team chasing after the Brewers like the Dodgers are. Braves are another team you could see in the postseason.
Have World Series already in the 2020s.
Right. Plus, you have that Little League game coming up on Sunday night, which Shane Drone is the guy.
Shane Drone's been all right this season.
Yeah, I know, but it's a big national prime time, glitzy, fun game. I mean, who looks most like they just got out of Little League on that team? Mizorowski. That's not hard.
I guess. Well, like,
right. But
he's also 18 feet tall. So
but we're not going to, I don't want to break up the routine and all of that, but still that Brave series, you're going to get Mizorowski in that Brave series, it looks like. So from that perspective,
it looks like on ESPN, they have Logan Henderson as that game starter.
Not according to Adam McKelvey yesterday at last check.
Okay.
1 second. Let me go back. I saved it because, with doing the leadoff show today, I save all this additional stuff.
As of right now, Drowan is supposed to start the Friday game against Sale. That's what ESPN has.
See here what McKelvey has. Let me go back. Adam McKelvey. Lost in late inning madness last night. Shane Drowan pitched 2 relief innings and tentatively slated to start Sunday against the Braves in Williamsport, Pat Murphy said. So that would seem to line up the probables like this. Friday is Miz. Saturday is Henderson. Sunday is Drowan, according to Pat. Well, the Drowan on Sunday part is Pat Murphy. Mm-hmm. And then McKelvey assumes that means Miz on Friday, Henderson on Saturday.
Push those guys forward.
Right?
Start. Yeah.
Correct. So that's from Pat Murphy. Sorry, ESPN. What we've learned on the postgame show is that ESPN game log where they do predictions is horribly wrong most of the time. We figured that out, Tim and I, following these ES game logs, that they're wrong more than they're right.
They just have it set up as like 1 through 5, what they expect the 1 through 5 is, and then just guess that, predict that throughout each of these series.
Probably. Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
I would assume that you're probably right about that for sure. All right, take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Looking for a college where you can excel in the classroom and on the field? And Bryan Strand College's Wauwatosa campus, you can compete in NJC AA Division II athletics with more than 20 men's and women's teams to choose from. Keep playing the sport you love while earning your associate degree in business, healthcare, criminal justice, or digital marketing. Athletic scholarships are available for those who qualify. Visit bryanstratton.edu and discover how Bryan and Stratton College is built different for you. As I've said many of times before, you get a great education that you can use for the rest of your life. Number one, that's the most important thing. Number two, if you simply just want to continue to play sports and you aren't getting D1 offers, or you are, but they're not good enough because you think you're better than that, then go D2. Play for a couple of years, get a great education, potentially get scholarship money. If you're that good, you probably will get scholarship money. And then line yourself up to potentially go to a higher D1 to play your junior and senior year at the higher D1. It is definitely a thing, man. I promise you. And if you reach out to Bryan Stratton, they can give you the list of athletes that they're doing that for in the different sports. Check them out today, bryanstratton.edu. Whether you're in Duluth, Superior, Appleton, Green Bay, Wausau, wherever you're listening to us, and you're an athlete or a parent of an athlete, I promise you, going this route will be one that you'll be very thankful for later. bryanstratton.edu. All right, I'm not going to do this to my guy Charlie. We're going to just push off Charlie's sounds of the day because literally he'd have like 3 minutes.
We can mix it in with the Hard Knocks recap. I can.
Yeah, so we'll do Charlie's sounds of the day coming up at 4:20. Things that we missed on today's show, like we always do at 4:40. Gotta talk about that Tatis game last night. Oh my God, that was insane. Braden Carrington, big news with him and the Badgers. We got to get to that coming up towards the end of the show. Green and Gold update comes up at 4:00. We'll talk more about training camp practice today. We didn't get into everything. Plus, Matt LaFleur talked like always, and we'll dive into that. Oh, Matt LaFleur tomorrow is going to be fun. It's going to be fun, I tell you.
Why is it going to be fun?
Well, because he's running with the threes today, Nixon. Like that's got to be a thing, right? You've got to bring that up.
You know he's going to.
Let's talk about Keyshawn being with the threes, buddy.
He's not going to say anything about it. He's going to say, "Oh, everybody, if you watch the rest of the practice, everybody was running around with all these different groups. It means nothing."
Oh, when was the last time he bit his tongue on Keyshawn this week?
He hasn't yet, but
no,
I think
not once.
At this point, you gotta start now. Like if you didn't do it the first couple times, you gotta start now.
He should have started before now.
Should have, yes.
Habish, and Rotier, they're here to speak for you. So you don't have to go through this whole process alone when you're hurt in a car accident. They've been helping injured Wisconsinites since 1930. 13 different locations across the beautiful state of Wisconsin. Wausau, if you're listening on the game, they're there. WNFL, Green Bay, Appleton, Fox Valley, they got locations, both spots. They're there too. Got your back. If you're listening on the Fan in Madison, 94.9 HD2, they're there with you too in Madison. If you're listening to us on the Fan in Milwaukee, 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan, they got you. They're all over southeastern Wisconsin. Duluth Superior, coming one day soon. Just hang out. We'll get there eventually. Habish. I'm saying we, like I work for them. I do not. But Habish Rotier, national reputation, hometown service. Obviously, they win a lot of cases. They get safety laws made. That's the national reputation part. The hometown service part of this is they're going to be approachable. They're going to listen. They're going to care. They're going to try and do the very best they can to get you what you truly deserve, regardless of how big of a settlement you may think you deserve or how little of a settlement or whatever the case may be. They're going to do their very, very best for you and treat you like, your friend or family member, something like that. That's why you go to them. Check them out today. Habish, and Rotier. National reputation. Hometown service. Habish.com. Coming up next hour, we are going to get to our green and gold update. That's coming up next. Then we'll get to Charlie Sounds of the day, talk a little bit about Hard Knocks, Seahawks last night. That thing last night. Terry and Arnold in Seattle, how the whole thing came about. All the conversations, John Schneider, the former Packer executive who has won 2 Super Bowls in Seattle now, everything he went through to get this thing done. Fascinating stuff. We got to jump into all of that coming up at 4:22. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie over there, other side of the glass. Leadoff show gets you ready for Brewers Mariners game 2 tonight. That comes up tonight from 5 until 6:30. Then after the last pitch, you make the switch. Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show with the franchise, Tim Allen and myself tonight on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. How y'all doing here on a Wednesday? Man, oh man. Time is just moving along. It's flying.
I always think it's the funniest thing whenever you have to pause to look at what day it is.
Oh,
because I know right away, right when you take that pause, I'm like, it's because he doesn't know
what day it is. Absolutely no idea. Kay thinks like I'm screwed around. Like she doesn't realize just how truly bad things are right now. She just doesn't, or she just chooses to ignore how bad my brain is currently. I have no idea.
She's learned to work around it. That's all that matters.
You think that's what it is?
I think that's what it is.
I don't know. I mean, literally, in the last break, I'm in here working on my laptop in the break, getting ready for later tonight. But before I got to my laptop, I went to my office to go grab a soda. Got a soda on my office. I come back in here and I take a sip out of my soda, work on my laptop, hear the commercial break ending. So I come and walk around my soda and I see my Wendy's soda right here. My Wendy's soda still here. Never finished it, but I got another soda. And then Charlie heard me go, geez. And he starts laughing because he knows Sparky did it again. Forgot that he had a soda. I put the cap on. He puts it in the refrigerator in the producer's booth.
Where he'll forget about it for 3 weeks now.
Yes, it'll be in there I guarantee you it'll still be there tomorrow. I'll forget about it by the time, because I'll be here now until midnight, 1 a.m. by the time we're done with post game and all that stuff.
Go get 3 other ones from his fridge in his office.
Yep, absolutely. Happens all the time. 4 o'clock hour. We'll get to Charlie Sounds of the Day coming up here in about 15 minutes or so. Things that we missed on today's show coming up at around 4:40. Lots of fun stuff to do there, but it's 4 o'clock, so we do this.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, so Matt LaFleur talked earlier today before practice, before Keyshawn Nixon got to running with the 2s and the 3s earlier today. And again, as Andy Herman pointed out in the Pack a Day podcast, well, they weren't really going full go. Well, yeah, but we were tweeting like it was full go. Javon Hargrave blows by Belton. Javon Hargrave would have been his second sack. But so all of that leading up to everybody killing Keyshawn for running third string, there was nothing ever really said about, well, they're really kind of going half speed, so don't worry about this necessarily. Then once we put out Keyshawn's running with third string and Packer fans, right to it. We're all on it like third string. What the heck? Well, yeah. So then it's like, well, I don't know if we should be overreacting, blah, 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 blah. Fine. Lots to get to here with Matt LaFleur. We were talking about this earlier, Charlie and I, in a break earlier in the show about Kyle McCord, because Kyle McCord just continues to look good, right? Young quarterback, played at Syracuse, Ohio State, good quarterback. As we sit third string, are they going to keep 3? Probably keep 2 to try to get him through the practice squad.
Had enough injuries last season, past couple seasons, that maybe you think about it.
I'm not against it, to clarify. Now, a lot would be. Why are you wasting a position on a third string quarterback when you could get a viable special teams player only in that spot? Just like to having the conversation of Sky Moore versus Keyshawn Nixon versus Bo Melton. Can you justify keeping all 3 of those dudes if none of them are viable pieces on offense or defense? If Keyshawn Nixon ends up as a 4th or 5th DB in that room and Sky Moore clearly is not a viable wide receiver based on all of his drops, he ain't playing, and Bo Melton doesn't appear to have a big role in this offense, how do you justify keeping 3 dudes when only one of them is going to be the returner? That's going to be Sky Moore. I would think that's why they signed him, because the other 2 weren't good enough. So that's why you decided to go back to go get Sky Moore here. That is going to be something that's going to be talked about as well. Whether you just release one of them, whether you trade 1 or 2 of them, I don't know, but that's going to be a conversation. So by keeping them, does that then eliminate a guy like McCord from getting that third quarterback spot? Matt LaFleur talked about McCord.
You got to repeat that performance each and every week. And whether you're a rookie or a vet, it doesn't matter. So I'm excited for his opportunity against a really good team. I think Denver, they showed it. They showed it last year, obviously going to the AFC Championship game.
That's just a lie. But with all due respect, that's just a bold-faced lie. That's all that is. Matt LaFleur is standing in front of me. Are you calling me a liar? Yes, I am. Because I promise you, if Jordan Love plays well one week and doesn't play well the next week in preseason, it's not going to matter a damn to you whether or not Jordan Love threw an interception in preseason game number 2. If Josh Jacobs fumbles the ball, it's not going to matter a damn to you that Josh Jacobs fumbled the ball in a preseason game. The only people this matters to are the people that are fighting for roster spots. It does not matter to a first-round pick either. If you had a first-round pick, I don't know, say Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden's dropping balls. You ain't cutting him. He ain't going anywhere. I don't care how bad he looks in preseason. Not happening. Second-round pick, third-round pick. Those guys ain't getting released no matter how bad they look. The only people that it matters to are the people battling for the last handful of spots on that roster, because the rest of the roster was already decided before they even started training camp. Doesn't matter what a majority of these other guys even look like out there. They're already penciled in on the final roster. So you're literally talking about what? 10, 12 spots maybe on the roster that you're actually playing for in an NFL camp when you have a good football team. Now, when you have a bad football team that's been bad for a while, Browns, maybe that's different. But in this scenario, come on, man, that veteran or rookie. No. That's just not true. It matters when you're playing for a roster spot. In this case, that doesn't even exist as far as a third string quarterback. He more than likely is playing for a practice squad spot. And as Charlie brought up earlier, well, would you rather keep him over Tyrod Taylor? No. Not because I don't think he might not be able to look better than Tyrod Taylor, but because the whole point of having Tyrod Taylor was the veteran mentorship, having another voice, another set of eyes to help Jordan Love on the sidelines. That's what that was all about. And if he can win you a game or two, great. But you want his brain more than you want everything else that comes with Tyrod Taylor at this point.
What if you felt like you got enough out of Tyrod Taylor over the past 4 months or so that he spent time with Jordan Love that helped him get to be a better leader at that point? Like, what if all of the juice that you have out of Tyrod Taylor and you don't feel like he's worth having as a back quarterback, especially if Jordan Love is not going to be healthy, which is always high potential with Jordan Love throughout his start. He hasn't had a complete
season yet as a starter.
Like, do you just go with a guy that you think maybe could give you a higher upside to win games throughout the regular season versus just a guy who's a mentor?
No, I can't do it. You make a compelling argument, and I think some probably would agree with you that they would rather have McCord than Tyrod Taylor. I just think looking at this, I don't think I want an inexperienced quarterback behind Jordan Love again. We've seen this. I want somebody that is a guy that can help him. With all due respect to Malik Willis, I'm not sure how much he was helping Jordan Love. Maybe he was. I have no idea. Just because you're a backup doesn't mean you're not.
He has like 2 years on Jordan Love in the NFL. It's not much.
But he didn't have any starts or anything like that, right? There's not a lot of experience of in-game action, playing against different defenses, seeing different looks, being put in different situations, playing in different leverage situations. He didn't have all that experience. So I'm sure he helped to a degree. Maybe he did point out a couple of things that Jordan missed or didn't see and was able to help.
Fortitude,
Jordan.
Maybe he could help with.
Sure. And I just think from a Tyrod Taylor standpoint, the character, the leadership, like everything that goes along with it, like you just don't hear anybody ever saying a bad word about this dude when he's in your locker room. You just don't. I've not heard it. I mean, if there's a thing where Jets players didn't like him, I never heard it, or Chargers players or anywhere else that he's been on 100 teams. I've not heard it. So I think it's only positive to have him out there, even if maybe he doesn't outplay McCord. This is another scenario here. It does not matter how bad Tyrod Taylor is. He's on the team. They've already given him, you're here, you're good. He's not coming here to, quote, compete and then potentially get cut at the end of camp. He's coming here because he's assured of a job. That's why McCord is here competing to potentially be on the practice squad or play way above his head and convince him to be a third-string quarterback. And again, I think the odds of that are slim. I'm not against it. I'd be for it if that's where they want to go with this deal with McCord. I think the odds are he ends up on the practice squad.
Do you think, though, if he were to continue to play at his level, that he's too good for a practice squad? Are the Packers okay with just like losing that?
Potentially somebody could claim him. Yeah, well, you'd have to be okay with losing him if that's how this is going to play out.
Even though Tyrod Taylor is probably not obviously a long-term option, maybe a guy that also gets injured late in his career a lot. If he were to get hurt and then you lose a Kyle McCord, now you're rocking with Sean Clifford because you picked him off of whoever's practice squad he's on now.
But think about it from this perspective. It's not the Bears. They've had some idea of how to develop quarterbacks. They developed Love. They clearly developed Malik Willis because he balled out his first game with Miami. They developed Malik Willis. If they're making McCord better, and I would love to hear McCord's comments after this whole thing is said and done as far as how he improved with them and in what ways he improved. But if they're making McCord better to where he gets picked up as a backup quarterback on another roster, then that's fine too. Then I think if you're Gutekunst, you feel comfortable with, okay, we lost him. We'll draft somebody else next year in like the 6th, 7th round. And we'll see how that one works out going forward. I don't think Tyrod Taylor is a long-term play as the backup quarterback. And maybe that's a way to sell Kyle McCord to sign with you on the practice squad too of, look, man, this is 1 year. Like, just hang with me on the practice squad for a year. We're going to do our year with Tyrod Taylor. Let Jordan Love soak in everything like a sponge. And then, providing you're continuing to make progress and getting better, that job will be yours going into next season. We'll feel better about that situation moving forward. I think if you sell it that way to McCord, I think McCord is good. If you don't sell it that way and just be like, we'll just see how this whole thing plays out. We're comfortable with Tyrod Taylor kind of going forward here for the next couple of years, but we'll see how this goes. Then maybe he decides to go somewhere else and sign. We'll see.
Well, and if I were him after this training camp, if I don't have a roster spot, if I'm on a practice squad, I'm going somewhere else. Like, there's going to be other teams that are going to be looking for a guy like him to be a backup quarterback for another young quarterback potentially, or an old veteran quarterback. Like, he's going to get a spot based off how he's performed so far if he continues that for the next couple of games here.
Correct. And that's something else to pay attention to. The other thing to pay attention to is Aaron Banks. Because Matt LaFleur talked about that. Because remember, he's had his thing with Keyshawn Nixon, but he's also kind of brought up Aaron Banks as well in passing. He's just give this dude an extension, and he's aiming at everybody on the team. LaFleur talked about his plan for Aaron Banks and everyone else coming back from injury.
Certainly, we do that with anybody that's coming off an injury or whatever, or hasn't been healthy. We always have a plan in place in regards to, you never want to overload a guy too quickly and too much. And for some guys, it's just, how do you get them to the game? So there's a plan for each individual on our team. Certainly, the more they're out there, the better you feel as a coach. And I think there comes a lot of confidence with that from the player, knowing that they put in the work to go out there and perform at the level that we need them to perform at.
If you were Aaron Banks, would you trust this dude?
Yeah, I guess.
If you were Keyshawn Nixon, you trust this dude?
I guess.
No, that's not very confident.
You can't be confident, though. You can't.
That guess is not, no. If I'm Aaron Banks with LaFleur, I'm saying to and I don't know what he's saying himself. I'm saying to myself, if I ain't playing, I'm gonna lose my job. Like, he's gonna put somebody else in there at left guard just to make a point, if nothing else. Week 1's gonna come, and my butt is gonna be sitting on the bench, very wealthy butt. But I'm gonna be sitting my wealthy butt over there on my bench while Burton is out there starting left guard to prove a point to me that, well, you weren't available all during training camp, so not cutting you. You make too much money, but you're gonna be a backup now. At the guard position. You'll be our swing guard, and we're going to start Burton at left guard. And Belton, you're our swing tackle, and we're going to start Monk at right guard. And again, I don't think that's crazy to think that's going to happen. I heard John Kuhn earlier today at 9 to noon talking about it. Or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. But either way, he was talking about this offensive line. And he was talking about, the floor of this offensive line is how the season ended last year, where Banks in the second half, how he played, which was better than the first half, obviously, when he was banged up and hurt. And then Belton, how he got better throughout the year at right guard. And then he likes Sean Ryan at center. And then left tackle and right tackle, we'll see on Jordan Morgan. We haven't seen that in the regular season. But he goes, that's probably an okay floor. If everybody plays really well offensively, you could probably get by with that as a floor. But then there's no assurances, as he pointed out, that Belton gets right guard or that Banks gets left guard at this point because of how well Monk and Burton are playing.
Right. You have to at least give those guys an opportunity. It feels, and I said this yesterday too, again, very much like the cornerback room, when you have so many players in that group, even if you do have guys who have started there in the past, you have to give these other guys an opportunity just because the lack of high quality play you've seen from those types of players. I just feel like if you're going to go out and do that, if you're going to put two guys in Jagger Byrne, who is a rookie, and then Jacob Monk, who hasn't gotten any real like true playing experience with the Green Bay Packers in his 2 years with the team because of his own injuries or just not being ready for that type of moment. If you're going to put those guys into the lineup, like that's also just a really big gamble, almost as much of a gamble as just saying, all right, Aaron Banks, yes, we pay you a lot of money. Yes, you've been injured. Yes, we're frustrated with you, but we need you out there and we need to put you out there. Like, I don't think you're any safer with those two guys out there than you are with Aaron Banks, which would lead me to believe that Matt LaFleur would just say, you know what, Aaron Banks, you're out there.
This is the problem that I foresee here. If he is willing to push in on this, if you're not available, I'm not starting you. That means he doesn't think you're very good. Because if you're really, really good,
that's what I'm saying.
It won't matter if you don't practice in training camp. As long as you're available in week 1 and go do your job, it don't matter.
Even if you're slightly good, you don't have to be really, really good.
You've got to be significantly better than the guy behind you
which
to get through training camp
right now with a rookie that's behind you, man.
I'm just saying,
a 5th round rookie at that.
Yes, well, they all love Burton up in Green Bay apparently. So that's my point. Like, if he was really good based on what his money says he should be, then it wouldn't matter. It'd be like, whatever, I don't care. As long as you're available in week 1 and you're available the rest of the year, I don't care if you don't practice in training camp or whatever. Who cares? Just make sure you're there on week 1 and play at a Pro Bowl level, and we're good. Call it a day, right? But because that really wasn't the case as much last year, he's putting some pressure on him to get out there and play, to work on whatever, to get better and get reps, which is the same thing he'd be pressing on Belton if Belton was hurt. Thankfully, Belton isn't hurt. Still not looking all that great by the sounds of it. But at least he's out there and playing. And that at least means something to LaFleur, that he's available and out there playing. If Belton was hurt too, and neither one of these cats were out there, LaFleur would be losing his mind right now. LaFleur talks about bringing in veteran leadership. Hargrave and Zaire Franklin, and some of these other guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do a good job of being themselves. And I think that's one thing that our locker room and what we encourage. I want people to be themselves and fit within the framework of what we want as a Packer. But all those guys have done a great job coming in and just being themselves, and it kind of happens naturally.
If you saw some of the Zaire stuff, he gets into a Tucker Kraft, whatever. He's talking about, we have breakfast together tomorrow, whatever. And he talks about how, these guys got to figure out that he's one guy on the field and he's a different guy off the field. And that's all true. There haven't been a bunch of those type of dudes in this Green Bay locker room in a while. There just aren't those type of guys that play with that edge all the time in practice. Not been a thing. It just hasn't been. I mean, who else has there really been at this point where you can point at and go, yeah, that dude played with edge. Even in training camp practices, there were fights and there was other stuff going on, getting into it with the ones consistently, trying to get better. There haven't been a lot of those guys in the last, 5 years? Definitely not in the last 5 years.
Like the last guy I can truly think of that was an addition. Like Preston Smith had a little bit of an edge to him when he was playing like that.
Zadarius had more than Preston.
Yeah, like I think just together those two guys were like that edge on that defense, literally and figuratively, that they went out there and helped give you that, especially in practice too. And then Zadarius Smith over time lost that edge a little bit.
Yep.
And I think that's something you run into with these types of players. If they're running 100 miles per hour, if they start getting mad, if they start getting frustrated, do they all of a sudden shut that off because they've been going 100 miles per hour? How do you slow down? You can't. You just shut it off. So I think that's what you worry about with some of these players. But Zaire Franklin so far feels like a guy who's lost an opportunity when he had a really good spot, a really good role with Indianapolis, and then over time just kind of fell out of that role and realizes that this is his second chance that a lot of teams probably wouldn't have given him in the same type of capacity that the Green Bay Packers are right now. I got to make sure I take advantage of that second chance, and that's huge for him. That's huge for this Packers defense.
I also think it's something that was planned going in, right? Gannon knew the type of player he was. Goody knew the type of player he was. And they knew they needed that type of attitude to kind of help get this defense to where they wanted to go. With all due respect to Quay, he wasn't that guy with this type of mentality and attitude, playing practice in, practice out, and not being afraid to ruffle a few feathers in a practice, going after the offense like you would in a game. All right, take a quick time out, come back. Charlie, Sounds of the Day, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen. Still to come, things we missed on today's show comes up in the last segment. Leadoff show gets you ready for Brewers and Mariners Game 2 at American Family Field after the Brewers dropped 22 on their head yesterday. We'll see what they do today. It's returning the fan favorite everyone's been asking for, the pretzel bacon bub cheeseburger. It's back at Wendy's. Fresh, never frozen beef, creamy beer cheese, Munster cheese, applewood smoked bacon, and crispy onions all on a pretzel bun. Add a side of delicious bacon pub fries to create a combo so good you'll feel like you're at an actual pub after just one bite. Limited time only. All right, normally we do this at 3:20. Today we moved it an hour to this time, so let's go.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie Usen, where to first?
All right. So first up, like we teased before, I'm going to head on over to Hard Knocks and Seattle Seahawks training camp. There wasn't a whole lot of super interesting things from this episode, but the one thing that I think everybody was tuning in for was to see the process, how they signed cornerback Terrion Arnold, who is currently in the midst of some weird legal battles going on between the situation where he may or may not be involved. That's all happening right now. A lot of teams were still interested in signing him, even with all of that going on. But the team that did end up signing him was the Seattle Seahawks. This is John Schneider, GM of the Seahawks, talking with Terrion Arnold's agent right before the signing him.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Terrion's making his calls to the 7 other teams.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we are 100% good. Nothing I should be, because literally he has so many offers, and I feel really good about this situation from a human development point. He feels good, so I just want to triple check, because he's about to call them all and tell them he's going to Seattle.
We're 100% good, buddy. Just waiting. The only thing I'm going to, just so you know, when I talk to him, I'm going to be like, you're coming in here to fit in. Like, this isn't like.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
You and I are on the same page there, right?
I 100%.
Okay.
I want all that. This is a long-term play.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly.
This is a long-term play.
Nicole, I appreciate you reaching back. I appreciate you reaching back out.
Yeah. I just want to develop the human.
No,
he'll get a chance to play at some level.
But he for sure. No, for sure. But he knows that, right? Like, he knows he's coming to
100%.
Because I'm like, hey, man, like,
100%.
we're here to make you a better person, a better player. Like, there's a lot.
He knows.
Okay, all right.
As long as he will play and do a good, get to play some whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, no, for sure. But we don't know. We don't know how long it's going to be, so we'll see.
Exactly. So you got to prepare otherwise.
All right. I appreciate it, Nicole.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Can I just say, there is a part of this when I watched it last night that I did not understand.
What part?
So they then get Terrion Arnold there in Seattle. He was there the first time. They didn't show that. He left that morning. Then you have John Schneider talking to everybody, right? He's going back. He's playing the interview on his laptop, video interview from the combine. And he's laughing at some of the stuff that was in there. Like, hey, was your high school team any good? And he's like, no, my high school team sucked. That's why I went to Alabama. And Schneider thought that was really funny and whatever. So they're doing all that stuff. Then he goes and he pulls another Seahawks player aside that
Robbie
played,
Outs.
sure, and who played at Alabama with him, and is talking to him about him. Oh, he's a great kid, blah, 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 whatever. And then Schneider's talking to other people. Like, they vetted the heck out of Terrion Arnold. Like, they called Saban vouched for him. Saban was all about him. People were like, outside of Jalen Hurts, he was probably the second best character guy at Alabama in that run.
And he was best friends with Jalen Hurts, apparently.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody's vouching for him. So Schneider's like, well, from a talent perspective, this is a home run. It's just whether or not this is a good dude or not, and whether or not I can trust this dude kind of going forward. And they even say in the video, Schneider's on the sideline. I forgot who he was talking to, some tall dude. And he's like, this is us. We would have had to cut him too. Like, you're the first team. Second team, you get grace. Like, you can go take a chance on him. If it doesn't work out, no big deal, because you're not attached. If you're the team that drafted him, you got to roll. And I thought that was interesting as far as them even saying, well, this was our guy. He's out. But he's not our guy, so we can take a chance. This is the part I didn't understand. He signed, according to reports, a 1-year deal. What was the conversation about how we're going to be together for 6 years? What was that all about?
Yeah, I thought that was all really weird. And like even this conversation between Schneider and the agent, like they're talking about two different things throughout this conversation. You can just hear it the way she's like, yeah, this is gonna be a long-term fit, right? Yeah, this is gonna be something where he can develop as a human, which takes longer than one season to do that.
They've got another deal in place here outside of the first deal.
And John Schneider the whole time was just going, yeah, we just want him to fit in. We just want him to fill in that role, which again, that takes a couple of weeks. So like, yes, they might have something
they do
in place. Like, I don't know if it's in place or they've just talked about it, and that was just part of the reason that he decided to come here. Because
they said 6 years. It started laughing. That's a long time to play football together type deal. Now, this could be a deal where, okay, that first year, we don't know how much you're going to be available versus suspension versus jail time potentially or whatever all happens.
Give him one more 1 year contract after this season, and then you sign him to a 4 year deal.
You sign him here. Then you give them another one. Now you're 2 years away from the incident happening. Then I pay you, the money if, right, you stay out of trouble. If you fit in and you're balling and doing what you're supposed to be doing, then this is the deal we'll give you in 2 years. Which, oh, by the way, how is that any different than wink, wink, Bobby Portis? We're going to hook you up later. How is that any different?
It's not any different. I think like this way, at least it's not your guy, so it seems a little
Gary
better.
Trent,
NBA is so
here
stupid.
we go, dude. This is what we're going to do. How is it any different?
It's not, and none of these situations should be punishable. That's all things you should be able to talk about. Should be able to have these types of plays in place for these teams and these players. But also, I don't know if that guarantees he has 6 more years. Again, I think his agent talks very confidently and tries to get the team to agree into these types of things, which I think all agents probably do. I think she was doing a really good job of trying to bring that into the discussion every single time. And John Schneider did a really good job of not letting it get into the discussion the entire time. So I think that's more of an agent, the team kind of hearing that thing come out and saying, oh, 6 years, that's a lot of time. That's the team saying, oh yeah, we're not guaranteeing 6 years. That's us saying it's a lot of time. Let's see what happens.
No doubt. And then you've got a scene in there with John Schneider coming out and signing autographs for fans. He's like a rock star. Goody may sign autographs too, I guess, but Schneider's a rock star. I mean,
I hate his stupid treadmill.
Okay, so during that conversation with the agent, with Nicole,
that makes him not a rock star.
He's walking on this treadmill.
The whole episode, he's walking on the treadmill. Not just that, like every time he's in his office, he sits on his desk and he immediately gets up and goes to his treadmill. It's so stupid.
Charlie, the person that was in charge of our FM music stations prior to Brett, now she's in Chicago. That's what she worked with in her office. It was a treadmill with the thing on top, and that was her desk.
And if I have a phone call with you and I hear you huffing and puffing and the slamming of the treadmill behind, I'm gonna hang up on you. I don't. Dude, that makes me so angry.
Tommy's not here, but you could ask Tommy. We were on a Zoom with a corporate dude last year, I guess it was, and he was on his treadmill the entire time we were on the Zoom. That is the new thing now, where all these dudes are on their Zoom.
I refuse to believe you're that busy. Find other time to do that.
I don't know, man. NFL, these guys seemingly never go home one way or the other. But anyways, so that was Schneider's piece and all of that. But the other one that I found interesting was Jason Garrett hanging out there in that quarterback's room and having the conversation with his players. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Jason Garrett, that's a guy that's a former head coach, former NFL quarterback, and you're just trying to pull information out of him for your guys. That type of stuff, I appreciate it. And I know I always bring up Kidd, but that was something that Jason Kidd was really good at. Going out and finding dudes that played at a high level or had a lot of knowledge, and then bringing that person in to share their knowledge with his team and his players. And if Schneider is doing that semi-regularly, I think that's a good idea too.
Hasn't that been what Matt LaFleur's been doing over the past few years? And I think we get on him for some of the people he brings in, though.
Well, that's because they're. I mean, I don't know.
You don't like Nathaniel Hackett hanging out in the locker room,
and Getsy still being there bothers me. I still don't get the Getsy infatuation, but either way, yeah. And again, you can knock Garrett and say, wow, Jason Garrett, what the hell did he do in Dallas, Sparky? You're right. They didn't win playoff games in Dallas. Neither did McCarthy. I mean, so from that perspective, yeah, they won in Dallas, but they didn't go and make the run to get to a Super Bowl. McCarthy won in Dallas, and he didn't go make a run to get to a Super Bowl either with Jerry Jones. Nobody has. So until somebody makes that run, they're all in the same boat as far as how they are as a head coach. There, but Garrett's had some success in this league as a coach and as a player a little bit too behind Troy Aikman. So I found that one intriguing. The other part of this is, since we're talking about Hard Knocks, do you have any other Hard Knocks audio?
I got a few other ones, but I wanted to play some other clips.
So I can continue to talk?
Continue talking.
Thank you. The other one that I found that's kind of fun is, and I don't remember the dude's name, but the Hawaiian dude, the big defensive tackle, he's going to get cut. Like, the only reason I say that is that they have this big defensive tackle, and he's struggling, like getting punched in the chest, not using his hands. Then he's trying to get up. He's getting shoved back down to the ground multiple times. He's talking about on the sidelines. And then, his mom is like, oh my God, I can't believe my son's in the NFL. And she's up in the stands and she's watching. And then after the game, they come down, they talk. And all I'm thinking watching this is, he's just not that dude. Not that dude because physically he can't be that dude. Not that dude because potentially he's just too nice and just can't figure it out. Like, his mentality is just not going to allow him to get to the point of violence and how you have to play at that position to get to that next level. I think he's a super nice guy. I think he is trying to a certain degree, no doubt, all of that. When we get to cuts, if he gets cut, I'm gonna be like, yeah, makes sense. Now, maybe he's a practice squad guy for a year and you try and figure him out that way, but odds are it's probably just not going to work.
Well, and I guess if you're not going to be a good player, the next best thing you could do is be really nice, make some good connections in your little bit of time that you do have in the league. Hopefully that gets you a few other practice squad spots.
Maybe you end up coaching somewhere,
and then
whatever.
Eventually end up in a coaching or front office role with a team that really liked your personality and thinks that you can help out that way. So try to find other avenues then if that's not going to work out.
But there's definitely a mentality that you
especially
want.
a defensive tackle.
Right. That you want. And he's just not that guy. Okay. What else you got?
Let's step away from Hard Knocks a little bit, but keep talking about training camp. This is Ryan Wilson and Rand Carthen on CBS Sports, and they were discussing the amount of training camp fights that we've seen so far this season.
Your thoughts on these joint practices, which I think it's fair to say more important sometimes than preseason games, but it feels like you can't turn around without guys throwing hands. And how do you avoid that while still trying to get the work in? Because it can derail a practice session, it feels like.
I'll be real with you. I think some of it's fake. I think some of it's fake bravado, tough guy talk.
Okay.
I think the real guys are out there wanting to get some work because they know the importance of being able to get to work and the work for the team and as an individual. I think some of these guys are out there just pumping their chest because they think it makes them look good in front of their teammates. So, teams we have the talks. And hey, if a guy takes a punch, you're going to get kicked out of practice. There are some guys, vets, that are like, I'm not going to make it through practice. I'm tired. My body hurts. I'm going to throw this punch and get ejected. Yep. But then there are some fake tough guy stuff, out there as well.
Did you hear what he just said? He ain't lying. There are some vets that just don't want to be there. To hell with this. I'm done. I'll start a fight to get out of here. You get kicked out of practice, I'll go get a shower and I'll be done for the day. They want to fine me, but I'm sick of being out here in 90-degree heat and doing whatever else. I don't want to take a personal shot at y'all that are playing the NFL today, but half of y'all would never have survived in the 80s doing 3-a-days and all this other stuff. Y'all would have quit and just been like, to hell with this. I'm not doing this. The level of where you're at from a mental standpoint of what you can go through and deal with from a football perspective is way, way different than it was back in the day. Way different. Like, high school teams can't practice the way they did back then either. I'm not saying that it's better or worse now than it was then or whatever, because it was kind of out of control back in the day, obviously, with the Oklahoma drills and all this other crap they used to run. So I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying as far as mentally what you had to get yourself through in training camps back in the 80s and 70s and 60s, of what they put you through back then was crazy town stuff that they made you do for no damn reason. Just trust to see how tough you truly were, if you were going to bail or not. I really think a lot of these dudes now would never have survived. There's just no way. They would have quit and walked away and said, nope, not for me. I'm out.
And they don't have to. I think that's part of that discussion, is that, like, yes, that would be tougher for these types of players because they just mentally haven't had to go through that, but physically they'd be able to go through that stuff. And I think there's a lot of guys playing back in the 80s, 70s at that time that physically were not capable of going through all that stuff. So this was the way of weeding out those types of guys and making sure those types of players aren't on the field, that you get the best quality players. And the overall quality of the game probably isn't as high as it is today then, because you're you find and dig through all these guys that weren't ready for it. Nowadays, the way you can scout, the way you can watch all this film on these players, you know all those things. You know how mentally they're going to be based off what you've seen over the past 8 years of film that you have of a rookie or something like that. I think that's all part of this development is that, yes, while mentally it would be tough, physically, those guys wouldn't be able to play in today's NFL nearly as ready or as quickly as some of these young players are able to come into the NFL right away.
I don't know if I sent you the clip or not. I brought it up earlier. We'll see if we can find in the break. Micah Parsons talking about why he didn't go to Alabama. That is a prime example of what I am talking about. We'll see if we can find the break and play it for you in the next segment. But that is as prime of an example as ever. I mean, pretty much he decided not to go there because the practices were too tough when he was there. And it was too hot out. And that's why he didn't want to go to Alabama. I'm from up north. I don't want to play in this heat. And I definitely don't want to do everything you all are doing on a Thursday and Friday in training camp. And he said, nope, I'm out. See you later. And a lot of times it's like, why wouldn't you want to play at Alabama? Well, sometimes you go to a Nick Saban practice and see that crap and you're like, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm not going through that. I don't care how good they're going to be. I'm not putting myself through that. Sometimes it's not about the money. Sometimes it's not about how much the other program wins. Sometimes it's about how easy you want it to be for yourself going forward and where you see yourself fitting in. A lot of times we all just assume it's money driven or, well, of course, it's Alabama. They're going to get whoever they want. But apparently they don't get whoever they want because they could have had Micah Parsons. They tried to get Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons simply did not want them because of what he saw when he got on his invite to go to the practice. We got to find that audio. I've got it saved. But we'll play that in the next segment. Then I'll let you hear it for yourself. All right, go ahead.
And last up here, or on ESPN on First Take specifically, Jordan Love has been the hot topic of conversation over the past couple of days. Yesterday, I played one from Jason McCourty talking about whether or not Jordan Love is good, great, or elite.
It's great.
Today, Mike Tannenbaum and Chris Mad Dog Russo were discussing this on their show. Tannenbaum said that he thought Jordan Love was obviously great, borderline elite.
Tannenbaum's a huge Packer fan.
And Russo disagreed.
Well, he's 1-3 in the postseason. So when you're 1-3 in the postseason, you cannot be a great quarterback. And remember,
wait.
I'm going to give you the two.
Wait, hold on, Chris. Was that his fault?
The last drive,
was that his
they
fault?
did not organize that last 30 seconds properly. They did not organize that. They did not organize that well. And let's not forget the San Francisco game 2 years before that. Last quarter and a half, 3 for 9, 45 yards, and 2 interceptions. 3 for 9. They blew the game against the Niners. Remember the game a couple of years ago?
I didn't realize that.
So let's take it easy.
Hold on. I didn't realize that Jordan Love was he responsible to cover Cole Kmet in the back of the end zone? Was that part of his?
Listen.
Is that part of his job?
Does he have to throw and catch all
He's
the big?
1-3, Mike. In postseason play, you can't put him as an elite quarterback at 1-3.
They're 2-2. That's like saying that Josh Allen is responsible for the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, because he scored 38 points in the game. Well, what are you going to do in the San Francisco game? How do we evaluate that game 2 years ago? When he was terrible.
4 touchdown passes, 343 yards.
Did you remember the last quarter and a half of that game? 3 for 9, 45 yards, 2 picks. That's not elite quarterback play.
It's hard to argue with his numbers. You're not going to argue with numbers. I mean, you don't have to watch the game. You can just look at the box score and see what he did in the last drive and regurgitate that and repeat it and not know anything that happened on that drive. Tannenbaum was wanting to have a conversation about what actually happened on the drive. He was focused on giving numbers. Sure. That also is not arguable. Just like yesterday with McCourty saying that he's great and then gave out his reasons of why he's not elite top 5, but he's that second tier of 5 or whatever. That was perfectly said by McCourty. And if you're in an argument there with Mad Dog Russo, you're not going to win that argument. He's just giving you numbers and stats. You can't argue facts. Like, okay, you win. Like, if that's your reason, then okay. He's not going to be great in your mind till he wins a Super Bowl. And like I've said before, that's how he's going to have to win over everybody. They're going to have to win a damn Super Bowl. If they don't, he's never going to get the respect that he probably deserves, or some of us think he deserves, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl. Or if he doesn't even get to a Super Bowl, he's definitely never going to get it. He'll be viewed as a good regular season quarterback, but couldn't finish at the end, which is kind of funny to me because Peyton Manning was one of the biggest chokes in NFL history with Brett Favre, and they never, ever, ever called him to the carpet on any of that crap did they do to Peyton Manning. Throwing interception after interceptions against New England, against Pittsburgh. Never, ever, ever called him to the floor on it. And then he finally won one, and then there was no talking. But up until that point, him and Brett Favre were two of the greatest regular season quarterbacks ever that couldn't figure out how to win in the postseason because they both turned it over too damn much. But again, Favre always got ridiculed for it, and Manning never got touched in the national media ever by it. He's Charlie Houston, C. Sparky Pfeiffer's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, proudly outfitted by Burkhart Sporting Goods, our official apparel partner. Outfit your team or company with a custom apparel today at BSG1881.com, BSG1881.com. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie, use the other side of the glass. Were you able to find that Micah Parsons clip?
I was, yes.
Beautiful. All right. I can pull it up on my side, I think.
I was gonna say, I got it.
Oh, you got it? All right. Let's hear from Micah Parsons. He was talking with Derrick Henry. I'm not sure how old this is, but I saw it last night and saved it. This is talking about him taking a visit to Alabama and why he didn't go to Alabama.
I'm going to tell you right now, and this is the God honest truth. I went to Bama for 4 days. I went out there. I said, let me go see what it's like down south. I'm from up north. It was so hot. It was so hot. The workout conditions was so treacherous that I said, there's no way in hell I could survive up here. It was just too much for me.
Oh, we didn't have enough time to get the rest of it.
Yeah, I cut it down a little bit because we were running low.
Yeah, I cut it down a lot. The main part about this all was when he got to the part where the practices were too hard for him of what happened on like Thursday mornings. On Thursday mornings, they run, what do you say, 30 10s at 6 a.m. in the morning. And then they run even a more treacherous workout on that Friday morning. And Derrick Henry's just sitting there nodding. Yep, done that. Yep, I went through all of that too with Alabama. It was just too much. So between the heat and how tough the practices were, Micah Parsons was like, at that age, again, you're younger, right? You're not a seasoned NFL vet at that point. Decided, I'm out. I'm not going to do this. Coming up next, we're going to get to the leadoff show right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I look forward to talking to you the rest of the night about Brewers baseball. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone. Toodles.